Now, Gary Ablett's downstairs having a chat to the crowd, so I'm not sure if we can bring that to you, but Ablett, a fine performance from him today with 3 goals. And Patrick Dangerfield kicking 4. We might be able to hear a little bit of Gary Ablett down at ground level through the effects microphone. Let's have a go.
Some really good footy over the last 5 or 6 weeks, so we knew that we needed to win the contested ball, get it in forward 50 as quickly as possible and really give our forwards an opportunity, and I thought the guys are fantastic.
How are you feeling heading towards another big final series?
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a week of resting the body, and then we'll be ready to go.
And just a final word on the crowd here. It's the last home match for the year. What would you like to say to the people here at GMHBA Stadium?
Yeah, we're just got to thank you for your support all year. It's been fantastic, and let's get into the finals.
Thank you very much, guys. Well played, mate. Well done. Well done.
Gary Ablett downstairs with Nathan Templeton, the ground announcer here at Cardinia Park. So all the Geelong players are going over to the Carlton race, and this is becoming the custom, the great showing of respect for retiring players, and Daisy Thomas, he is going to be chaired off very shortly. Shane McInerney's getting a guard of honour as well, it would seem, at the umpires race.
It's his last game, so he'll might umpire in the final series, but he's umpired over 500 games, Shane. So
brilliant performance. He's not getting chaired off, Rammer, but there was a guard of honour with all the umps side by side. So the Cats and Blues make their way to the far side of the ground.
Do you cheer them off or do you boo them off?
You should have run, sellers. You should run down there and give them a piggy bag off the ground, I reckon. 4 goals for Dangerfield, 3 for Dalhouse, 3 for Ablett, 2 to Tui, singles to Stanley, Kelly, Radigalia, Narkle, Duncan, Guthrie and Myers. 11 different goal kickers for the Cats today, while for Carlton, all singles, all of their 8. Murphy, O'Brien, Kennedy, Cripps, Mackay, Walsh, Fisher and DeLuca. Well, they practiced this at Carlton training during the week as Mark Murphy and Cade Simpson push the little Daisy and make him come up. He's on the shoulders of Murphy and Simpson as he departs, we think, having played his last game of AFL football. He said his phone was on if someone wanted to call, but after 258 games, Thomas departs Cardinia Park. 8 seasons and a premiership with Collingwood, 6 seasons at Carlton that didn't always go according to plan, but sacrificed part of his contract late to get another opportunity to stick with the Blues. And Dale Thomas can hold his head high at the end of his career.
They can hardly hold him up because there's one's 60 kilos and the other one's about 55. I mean, they should have gone for some bigger boys than that, shouldn't they?
What were Casbolt and Cruiser doing?
Oh, they were just having a rest. You know,
end of the season.
Rested most of the day. But anyway.
Final score, Geelong 19-15, 129. Carlton 8-13, 61 here at Cardinia Park. Geelong 16 wins for the season, and that'll give them some confidence, their performance today. I would imagine, given the magnitude of the victory and the way they played against Carlton today, now heading into a week off, and then another final series for Chris Scott and his team, Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure.
Well, what we saw tonight was a set-up for the finals, and we understand that. This will be all sorted out on Sunday, who they play, but who will they change in the side? Who can they put in that's extra what they've got? What we saw tonight was they picked their ruck for the start. Stanley will be there for the finals, and he'll be their first ruckman. But what's changed this side is they've changed their small forward line. Gary Ablett's come in. They brought in Dalhouse. They brought in Narkle. They brought in a whole host of small players. And let me assure you of this. Dalhouse has had 9 tackles in the forward half. Now, 9 tackles in the forward half. We've never have seen that anywhere in Geelong for years. And that's been their biggest problem. They've had a tall forward line that's been okay, but no smalls that win games for you. So that's the big change for them. And you can also put, you can put some Duncan and Kelly and Ablett and Dalhouse and Myers as well, and a few others there that have changed the way they play. They're set up now pretty well to win a final. They've lost 9 of 12 in the last finals they've played since 2011. After 2011. Yeah. So anyway, for that point, they're set properly to play. But can they finish it off? Can they actually get hold of someone in 2 weeks' time and finish them off? They did a good job today. They played against a pretty average side, not an average side, just a side who was staggering to the end. I would think about there. So I like what they did. Their defence is solid. Their midfield's pretty good, real good. When you have a look at it, real good. And then their forward line now is set. So what, can they win one? We'll find out. The Blues, well, They got a bit of work to do, and we all understand that, and they understand it too. Another pre-season in the youth. Some power, another small forward into this side, and another midfielder into this side, and all of a sudden you might see a difference in the style of play and what they can do. Their last 6 or 8 weeks has been pretty good. The people have got on board, they've enjoyed it, but they've only played against, when you think about it, and only won against some of the average sides, not the big boys. There's no big boys in their game.
They beat the Western Bulldogs, Brisbane, Fremantle, Sydney, Gold Coast, Adelaide and St Kilda.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're not the big boys. So don't get too carried away with that. But they had some victories and a lot of people enjoyed it. So next year is another year and we'll see what the improvement brings.
Look, it was a much better... Look, no doubt since David T has taken over, it's been a much better performance. There's been a lot more spirit within Carlton. They've looked like a team that we've been all hoping to see for a number of years now with the youth. But I agree with Sellers. They need to continue to add. They definitely need to continue to add to the team over the off-season. I think they will. I think they will. Carlton are a team now that people will see they're exciting. They're exciting. They got... the way they go about it, you look at players that come back in, Charlie Curnow, Doherty, etc., etc., etc. There's a number of guys come back in. There's an important performance by the Cats tonight. 19 marks to 6 inside forward 50, 17 tackles to 7 inside forward 50. So that's where the game's probably won and lost really in the end for the Cats. And they needed to show that they could do what a lot of people are starting to think, was the first half of the season a bit of a fluke for the Cats, or was it real? Was it real for them? So we're going to find out in the final. Simple with the Cats, but probably finish on the top of the ladder now. We expect Richmond to beat the Brisbane Lions tomorrow. But it all doesn't matter because their performance in final series over recent years have been really, really ordinary. So now they've got a week to really tune up. There's probably a couple of more questions on players potentially coming back into the team. Tom Atkins, Jordan Clark, just to name 2 guys there. But you look at Ablett's in really good form. Dangerfield's in really good form. Kelly was a little bit quiet today. Their backline seems to be really, really solid. So I think they're going in now with a little bit more confidence than before.
So Geelong 11-1 to the bye, 5-5 since that. Interesting stat with their final round dating back to 2007. So they've been 13-0 in the match before finals. But as we know, the test will come for Chris Scott after that, where they've won 3 of the 12 finals. So we're just about a Bill fit of health. It is an important win because if they were to potentially finish top, it does help them avoid potentially Brisbane and West Coast. So they wouldn't have to travel in the first week of the finals. And a nice send-off for Dale Thomas. A guy had a sign, "Daisy, can I please have your jumper?" So he took it off and gave it to him. So if you ask the question, sometimes you get lucky.
You have to ask to get. Mark McClure, can I please have the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year?
Have a few apologies to a couple of Paddy Cripps and probably Gary Ablett and Stewart and those guys and Kelly. But I'm going with Quinton Narkle. I thought he's had 1 vote for Quinton Narkle. I thought it was a special game for him. It's going to place him in the finals. He's got a chance to play in the finals now. And these conditions suited him perfectly. Thought he was fantastic around goal and really good in the middle of the ground. I gave 2 to Luke Dalhouse. Had 9 tackles. He was 11 contested possessions. He's changed their forward line dynamics completely with the way he goes about it. Kicks 3 goals to go with it as well, and he's a very, very good player, and he's looking forward to playing in finals. And the 3 goes to Paddy Dangerfield, who is just a star. He's kicked 818 metres gained in his game, which is huge. Kicked 4 goals, 3, 34 possessions, 18 contested, and 12 clearances. Have a nice day. Just unbelievable. What a player he is, that boy.
Cats by 68 points here. Now, if you're listening through the Northern Territory or on Grandstand Digital in Adelaide and Darwin, you're heading to Ashes coverage next. So we'll take you to Headingley for the build-up to the third day's play, with Australia resuming at 6 for 171, a lead of 283, needing to win the match to retain the Ashes. England, of course, bowled out on a spectacular day too for only 67. Everyone else, we're sending you to West Coast and Hawthorn next, so that match to look forward to. And then on Analog Radio, after the football in Perth, you'll be off to the cricket as well. So final score here, Geelong 19-15, 129. Carlton 8-13, 61. Carlton finishes its season with 7 wins. The Cats with 16, and plenty more business to attend to. Earlier today in the AFL, the Sydney Swans defeated St Kilda by 45 points at the SCG. while North Melbourne defeated Melbourne in a thriller down at Bellerive Oval in Hobart by 5 points. If you're off to the cricket, enjoy it. If you're off to the footy next, enjoy West Coast and
ABC Books is the home of great Australian stories. Maccabi Diva won the Melbourne Cup not once, not twice, but 3 times. And yet, the story of this extraordinary horse has never been told until now. Before Winx, before Black Caviar, there was the incredible Maccabi Diva. Biography by Trevor Marshalsea, available from all good book retailers and online.
Stand by. Cue audio.
Grandstand, AFL.
You're with Grandstand. Players are ready. Here we go.
Kicks inside the attacking 50. Big lead from Havey.
It's a floater across the...
Beautifully by Lucan McCarthy. It's on its way. Is it on target? It's through.
Grandstand, AFL.
Oh, huge fly. Oh, goodness me. 45 out. Wheels. Fires. Goal.
straight to the goey. Don't do that. Never do that.
Puts on the burners. Breaks a tackle. Snaps from 40. Oh, yeah.
Outside of the boot, if you don't mind.
He snaps towards the teeth of goal. Ablett!
Grandstand AFL.
On a tight angle, comes in and threads the needle.
Elliott the rope, right foot snap. You betcha!
You're with Grandstand.
The impossible goal!
On ABC Radio and Grandstand Digital.
West Coast's previously slim chances of being minor premiers are off the table. That is done with Geelong's win over Carlton earlier today. But the Eagles still know that there's a finals double chance up for grabs with victory over the Hawks tonight at Perth Stadium. For Hawthorn, they need a lot to go right. They need to win, simply put, and then wait for a couple of games to also go their way. So many questions hang over how the finals might shape up. But for both of these sides, they can only do what's in front of them, and that is win in the West. Round 23 continues. Great to have your company. Clint Wilden alongside Ben Cameron. It's a big game for West Coast, a massive game for Hawthorn. Both sides making a couple of changes as well. Marston and Duggan, the ins for the West Coast Eagles. Scrimshaw and Howe for Hawthorn. There are no late changes to speak of, though, as the Eagles take on the Hawks. And in one of those quirks we get in the randomness that is occasionally the AFL fixture, it wasn't that long ago these sides met, just back in round 15 at the MCG this season, Ben Cameron.
I know, I always look through. Good evening, Clint. Great to be here about the previous meeting, and I was astounded to see that it was so recent, and I remembered watching it on that Sunday afternoon or morning afternoon out here in the West, and another one of Alistair Clarkson's disciples that he faces in Adam Simpson. And this West Coast Eagles team so closely modelled on what that triple premiership Hawthorn team did with their kick mark method, the way they like to move the ball. So very fascinating in that aspect. We know, as you said, West Coast can't finish top, but they can finish top too. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that Richmond, who sit fourth, beat the Brisbane Lions tomorrow, and the West Coast Eagles would then have 2 home finals and a pretty direct passage through to another AFL Grand Final. So it's a big match for them. Hawthorn playing for their season as well. The finals have come a week early for them. They must win it. It's a big one, once again on a Saturday night out west.
So these are the simple permutations. I do say simple, the widest sense of the term. West Coast, if they win, and Richmond beat Brisbane, and West Coast and Richmond's winning margins total at least 74 points, they'll finish in second spot. Also, if Richmond beat Brisbane, but Richmond's winning margin is not more than 48 points bigger than West Coast, this will keep Richmond below the West Coast Eagles. So there's a lot still to play out as far as the Eagles and their final finishing spot remain. If they lose tonight, the West Coast Eagles, they'll finish third if Brisbane beat Richmond. So that might be a bad issue for them as well. And they, looking at Hawthorn, well, there's a few permutations there. If they win tonight, they can finish 8th if Adelaide beat the Bulldogs, but their winning margin is not at least 59 points more than Hawthorn's. Plus, they need Fremantle to beat Port or Port win, but their winning margin over the Dockers is not at least 61 points more than Hawthorn. Clear as mud, everyone. Let's just see what happens in front of us tonight and who picks up the 4 points. Brett Peake and Michael Braun, our experts on Grandstand AFL. Great to see both of you. I'm really interested in a couple of things tonight. Not too many people beat Josh Kennedy, but James Frawley has had the wood over him the last couple of times that they've gone head-to-head. Will that match-up happen this evening? And it's the battle of the two former Saints. Tom Hickey in the ruck up against Ben McAvoy, and that will be an intriguing battle as well. How do you expect to see things pan out tonight, gents?
Well, first of all, thank you, and luckily you went to school and did your maths, because that has got me confused. I thought it was just win and lose, but with all that by how much and how little, it's got me dazzled. But
I just wanted to get it out nice and early, and then we'll ignore that and we'll let our Grandstand AFL teams tomorrow work all that.
I like it. And what a wonderful night for footy. A little bit chilly for the spectators, but as a player, you don't get better than this. I'm really looking forward to this game for a few different reasons. Obviously, Hawthorn have to win to keep their season alive, and West Coast need to win, as you alluded to potentially finish top two. A couple of young guys for the Eagles who have stepped up over the last couple of weeks to see if they can keep their position in the team heading into finals. And then on the other hand, we've got Hawthorn who have got some players that have really stepped up this year in the absence of a few of their injuries. So I'm hoping it's going to be a close game like always. As a spectator, as a caller of the game, you want it to be close. And I think it will be. And I think it will be a close game. And I'm tipping Hawthorn tonight. Brawny?
Oh, that's interesting.
Good evening all. Yes, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think given the fact that, a few players had a bit of a down game last week for the Eagles and only lost by 6 points. So I reckon they would have had at least half a dozen, and they're quality players as well. And with quality players, always bounce back, Peaky. So you wouldn't have thought they played two bad games in a row. And given the fact that they were such good quality players, only go down to Richmond by 6 points means that the Eagles' depth is very, very good. So, one kick in it could have gone either way. But, I don't think that the MCG holds any fears to the West Coast anymore, so I don't think that they care who they play, where they play, and that's a great attitude of a good football club.
It was interesting, and we chatted about this in the office during the week, but West Coast, they lose by a goal, but Tom Barras, who's been exceptional since he came into the side, arguably has his worst game that he's played for the club. Dom Sheed was well down. Josh Kennedy, who we know can be simply a match winner, 600 plus goals for West Coast, but was well held until very late in the final term. There were senior West Coast players who weren't up to that standard, and yet the Eagles were able to go down by just a kick. And when challenged, and then Richmond went over the top of them, the Eagles were able to get themselves back. So they didn't just see, this is one of those games that's going to go away from us. They fought back hard and really could have pinched it if a few things had gone their way.
It was pretty meritorious in the end from the West Coast Eagles, and I think they wouldn't be too concerned, and you two can speak more to it, but I don't think they'd be too worried with that loss. It was really fascinating. Styles make fights, and we've got the ball movement side who like to move it well by foot, kick mark that we speak about ad nauseum with West Coast, and Richmond all about pressure, surge, knock it on, soccer it on, just get it moving forward with their smalls, etc. And West Coast had it completely on their terms for the first quarter. Richmond basically had it on theirs for the next three. The rain came in the second half after a dry first half. So there's so much you can pick apart. But after all of that, like you said, West Coast had a lot of players down and still only lost by one kick. So I don't think they would be too concerned. And I think we all left thinking that would fit pretty well on grand final day, that fixture between those two.
Well, I didn't see the first quarter. I was coaching my son's football side, but apparently, of all reports, it was probably some of the best football that West Coast had played all year. And to Richmond's credit, which, very good sides to come back from a deficit at quarter time, Peaky, seems that it looks like that the yardstick in terms of the top two teams would be West Coast and Richmond. As I said, Geelong have been up and down all year. Richmond, they've won, 7 in a row now, could possibly be 8 after they play Brisbane. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting game tonight. The midfield battle is phenomenal. I think they've got some really good players. West Coast on paper look better, I think, than Hawthorn. And as I said, Hawthorn have been one of those sides that have been unpredictable all year. As soon as you back them, they lose. As soon as you go against them, they win. It's horrible. But, Darren Glass, ex-captain of the West Coast Eagles, will have some really good insight of some of these players. So it'll be interesting to see who goes to who. Does Elliot Yeo get tagged? Does Luke Shuey get tagged? What does Frawley do to Kennedy up forward? Where are the goals going to be kicked for Hawthorn? Is it Gunston? Is it Bruce? He's going to get off the leash tonight.
I find them really fascinating, Hawthorn, at the moment. And one thing I'm never going to do is criticise or even really question what the master coach Alistair Clarkson is doing and orchestrating behind the scenes, but they're trying to clearly renovate their way to another wave of success rather than rebuild. So rather than completely bottom out, get some top picks and go again, they've traded away their picks, got in some developed players, the likes of Jager O'Meara, and then they're trying to bring in other players like Chad Wingard and Tom Scully and see whether they can go again like that. But it looks a little bit like they're on the treadmill at the moment. They're neither challenging nor bottoming out right now. How do you assess where this Hawthorn side is at right at this moment? Because I find it really hard.
Yeah, I think they're going to be lacking, obviously, with Ruffy finishing up, and he's been an unbelievable servant for them. If they can jag a full forward or two quality forwards, I think with the guys that they've got, they can certainly be up there next year. And when I say up there, I'm talking definitely top 8, potentially pushing top 4. Obviously, Tom Mitchell comes back in.
It is something we have to remember. The reigning Brownlow medalist has not been there all year. So when we make assessments on that, you really have to do weigh heavily as a plus for Hawthorn that he will return, and if he can get back to that sort of form, and then even chuck in, if it happens, and we know he'd like to play alongside his best mate despite the money on offer from Carlton, if they can somehow snare Stephen Cornelio to join Jager O'Meara.
And the other point in addition to that is that they were top 4 last year, so I think we're all a bit surprised by that. They were in the top 4, they've dropped back a little bit. Was that I guess, not the aberration, but the outlier for them last year? Or are they potentially a team that is around that mark? I just find them really hard to get a read on at the moment as to whether they're a team that's right on the precipice of challenging, or they've still got a bit of a way to go with players they need to bring in and some of the youngsters they're bringing through that they need to develop.
Well, they've got some of the ageing stars. You look at Isaac Smith and Bruce and Gunston. They've been up and down all year. Great plays, triple premiership players. When you've had so much success, is the hunger still there in your late 20s? You're on some good money. Do you want to chase a 4th or 5th flag or whatever it is? And that's the difference. Like when you have a lot of success, back to back or every year, second year, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe the hunger's not there, and they on some good money. We're competitive. I'm getting a kick. Does that contribute to the fall of the inability to have success each week in terms of the consistency of the side? I don't know, but there's been some times where Hawthorn have been absolutely deplorable in games, and then all of a sudden when their backs are against the wall, Clarkson pulls one out of the hat and plays some really good football.
Yeah, I think they're going to rebound back, and that's why I picked them tonight. I think they're a quality outfit, coached by a quality coach. He's proven this year's sort of been an up and down year. They've had injuries at times. Injuries never help any side. It doesn't matter if you're top or last, but I think they've had their injuries at times that have really hurt them. They've shown some of their younger players, and I know what you're talking about in regards to those upper echelon players that have played their 200 and got 3 or 4 flags, which they'll go down in some of the greatest players to play. I think this has just been probably a flat year for them, and they'll come back and be more hungrier than ever, because there is still a few of those guys that have 3 and 4 premierships, and with these guys that haven't had one yet, and obviously we all know premierships don't come easy, I think they'll be back. Don't underestimate Hawthorn.
So you're backing Hawthorn tonight. Where is Hawthorn going to find a chink in West Coast armour, given the fact that forward line's very solid, the back line is very solid, and their midfield is very solid.
And maybe I'm being optimistic. I want a really good game, but I think, their firepower is going to be even spread of goals. Their midfield's going to have to push forward. Obviously, Isaac Smith can do that from a wing. He can bob up with his 2 or 3. Don't get me wrong, I picked West Coast to win the flag this year, and West Coast are a very good outfit. Maybe I just want to call a game from up here for once. That's a close game on the edge of our seats, and Hawthorn do push West Coast. But it's going to be a gritty win for Hawthorn if my prediction's right. But that's the beautiful thing. It's good to go against buck the trend sometimes.
They have found one in James Warple in the last season or two, and his last month has been spectacular. 34 disposals, 31, 37, 34. That is a solid month, finding not just consistency, but a step ahead of that. And his battle against Luke Shuey will be a really intriguing one tonight, I'd imagine.
You have a look at their midfield, Clint. You've got, obviously Hickey and Segler. So let's go through the Hawthorn midfield. Segler, Shields, Warpole, Amira and Scully on the wing. And then you go into the Eagles with Hickey, Sheed, Shuey, Yo and Marston. It's pretty even. It's a good matchup. I think it's going to be won and lost in there. Warpole, he's 20 years of age, playing some very, very good football. But Yo, Sheed, and Shuey, the three, one of the top end players who had off nights or off days last week, they'll bounce back tonight.
Having a look, by the way, at the other game that's underway, 20 minutes into the opening term, the Giants are away to the Gold Coast. This won't come as a major surprise to anyone. They're doing it fairly easily at the moment. 22 points in front, GWS, the 21-minute mark of the first term. They're 4 straight 24 to Gold Coast, 2 behinds. Let's head downstairs and go into the Hawthorn camp. Bridget Lacey is on the boundary line for us tonight, and she's got one of the assistant coaches, the stoppage coach, in fact, Chris Newman, with her.
Thanks so much for joining us, Chris. A huge game tonight, so much on the line for both teams. It's pretty simple for your boys. Win and give yourselves a chance of possibly playing finals. How are you approaching it?
Yeah, well, I think it's one of excitement. We're really looking forward to the game. Obviously, both teams have got a lot on the line. West Coast playing for a top 4 spot. So we know how hard the task will be tonight, but we feel like we've had a pretty good preparation and given ourselves the best possible chance. So, very much looking forward to it.
And you've just played the one game as a club at this venue. Does that come into your thinking at all? Did you get any more time out on this ground that you needed in the lead-up?
Yeah, I think we got enough time. I mean, we only had one run before the game itself, so I think the boys are accustomed to all sizes. We've played on all shapes and sizes throughout the year, so it's a fantastic deck. Promotes really good brand of football, and I think that's a sellout, so I think it's going to be a pretty big crowd, so a great atmosphere.
And a big milestone for the club tonight. One of your favourite sons, Isaac Smith, plays 200 games. Give us your thoughts on him as a player and a person. Oh, I'm so happy for him. He's one of those personalities that you love to be around. He makes you a happier person. Just for the way his attitude is. He's so vibrant around the group. He adds so much excitement to the way he plays. I know that the supporters love to watch him, and football lovers in general love to watch him because he plays that sort of brand that's really exciting. When you think of him, you think of his running bounces and some of the crunch goals that he's kicked in big games. So the boys are really keen to have a good performance for him, and hopefully we give him a good 200th. Brilliant. The guys upstairs have got some questions. We've got Clint Wilden, Ben Cameron and Brett Peake.
Oh, Chris, it's Brett here. How are you, mate?
Good. Guys, how are we?
Good. Now, obviously, with Ruffy, last game last week, how have the boys responded on the training track? And was it Ruffy's call to not play, or was it a coaching staff's call? I think it was a bit of a combination. I think the way Ruffy played, he sort of had the opportunity to ride off into the sunset a little bit. It was unbelievable if you were there and you experienced it. It was some of the most exciting football that I think that anyone's ever been a part of. And for such a great person, such a big personality in our club, and for what he's done for us, it was a great send-off for him. And I think that the best part of last week was the way he enjoyed himself and he laughed. We all rallied around his energy, and I was really glad to send him off in such a fashion. And another one is obviously the team's coming over, long trip over to Perth in front of what will be a pretty hostile full house. How have the boys been on the track this week? Because looking at it, obviously a win gets you in the eights, and as we know from a couple of years back with the Western Bulldogs, making the finals, anything's possible.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's one of excitement. It's a finals type atmosphere tonight. I'm sure both teams will be feeling that. West Coast have got a lot to play for as well. So this is my first time here. I haven't been here before, and it's a fantastic facility. I'm looking forward to a packed house, and I think both teams will play a really exciting brand of footy.
Chris, Ben Cameron here. Thanks for your time. Round 15, you came up against the West Coast Eagles at the MCG. They overran you in the final quarter. Luke Shuey and Elliot Yeo, enormous in that final term. Jack Darling booted 5 goals in that fixture. Jamie Cripps 3, including the winner late. What lessons can you take from that match, albeit in the wet and at a different venue?
Well, I think you obviously have to be on with your contested football and the way you attack the football around stoppages and contests. They've got quality all across all lines. So they're one of those teams that you come up against and you focus too much on one person, then another one gets off the leash, and so on and so on. So, we learnt a couple of lessons. We want to kick straight. We kicked our way out of it last time. I think we kicked something like 18 points. They really dominated the clearances. So, obviously, we do a little bit of homework on that, and hopefully we can execute tonight.
James Warple's been a guy that I've just loved watching over the course of the past 2 years now. Pick 45. He's leading the Hawks this season in possessions and contested possessions. Now, when Tom Mitchell went down, we all went, who comes up next? And it's been Jimmy Warple. What can you tell us about how you've seen his development from the inside?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It was pretty devastating, obviously, to lose Tom in the pre-season, and we're probably asking ourselves the same question, and what it has done is just given James the opportunity to cement himself in that midfield, and really does provide a lot of grunt for us. He's one of those kids that wants to learn and absorb as much as possible. That's why I think he's mentioned Sam Mitchell quite a few times, who's really been his coach and his mentor this year, and trying to pick up little tricks and tactics to get an advantage over the opposition each week. And he's one of those guys that puts everything on the line. He's a hard worker, really honest player, and we look forward to plenty more progression from him.
Now, we love looking around the competition, and we see Alistair Clarkson's disciples coaching around the competition. What's it like being an assistant beneath the greatest coach in this generation and learning from him?
That's a little bit daunting when you put it like that. It's been a great experience. Obviously, my journey is I started off with as a development coach and coached Box Hill for the last 2 years. So just trying to be a fly on the wall as much as possible my first 2 years and absorb as much as possible. He's one of those coaches that is obviously really tactically sound, but his relationships are fantastic. His buy-in with everyone's family. He knows everyone's family's names. Those intricate little details he pays attention to. So it's been great to try and learn as much as possible from him, and I'm sure the other coaches are the same.
Chris, it's been fantastic to have a listen to you. Best of luck tonight.
No worries, guys. Cheers.
Chris Newman downstairs with Bridget Lacey. We've seen Aussie the Eagle, the massive wedge-tail eagle that flies around Perth Stadium before the start of every game, just do its incredible lap. The wingspan, even after all this time, and it's at least 3 or 4 seasons that Aussie's been going around at Subiaco before I was here. It is still remarkable when this incredible bird of prey flies by. The Eagles, they've got the inflatable tunnel up and about, not too far away from entering the ground, and so too the Hawthorn banner has been laid on the ground at the city end of Perth Stadium, and not surprisingly paying tribute to Isaac Smith in game 200. Was recruited from North Ballarat, taken with pick 19 of the Hawks' first selection in the 2010 National Draft, making his debut in round 7 of 2011. Of course, a 3-time premiership player, 13, 14 and 15, and he won the 2016 Best Clubman Award. So 200 games for him, and also a milestone game for Dom Sheed, game 100 for Dom Sheed for the West Coast Eagles. And speaking of the West Coast Eagles, let's head across there right now, and downstairs, Bridget Lacey's with Jamie Graham.
Jamie, thanks for joining us. Obviously a huge night for the club. So many permutations that people have gone over during the week. Has it at all been discussed inside the four walls of West Coast?
Not with the players. We talk as coaches. We have that many meetings throughout the week, so you've got to talk about something. But to be honest, we can't control any of the other games, and we're solely focused on beating Hawthorn and getting the 4 points, and the rest will take care of itself.
We all loved watching last week's game, but it looked like it was torrid for the players. How did they pull up out of that game, obviously, in the wet?
Yeah, it was a tough game, contested, and then the conditions make it even tougher. But 6-day break, we're normally a lot lighter the way we train anyway, so it's been a light week. There's boys been in real recovery mode, and we've got a good session in on Thursday, so the boys are fresh and ready to go. No excuses.
Liam Duggan back in tonight. Good to get him back in the side. He was a pretty permanent fixture last year.
Yeah, he come back in and looked really good in really tough conditions himself. So we're very fortunate in our back line. We've got himself, Tom Cole, Frankie Watson, shown that he can play at the level, and Hawthorn and Schofield. So we've got plenty to choose from, but Duggo's important to our team, and it's great to have him back.
We'll throw you upstairs. We've got Ben Cameron, Clint Wilden, Brett Peake and Michael Braun.
G'day, team.
G'day, JB. Brett Peake here. First of all, what a night for football. Looks like an absolute cracker to be out there. Obviously, we're not out there, but the boys are. Yeah. A couple of younger players that have sort of stepped up in the last couple of weeks that are probably vying for a position heading into finals. Who are some of the ones that have caught your eye as a coaching staff?
Yeah, I suppose across our forward lines, probably our youngest group. We've got Petruccelli, who hasn't looked out of place this year, and he brings his speed and pace to the game, which is important. Young Camo's not playing tonight, but he's shown that he can play at the level as well. So those two boys are sort of vying for similar positions. Oscar Allen's done a fantastic job for us. For a young fella to be playing a key post and also in the ruck, pinch hitting, he's done an amazing job, and he's really given Tom Hickey a hand in the ruck there. So there's just a few, I suppose, in the forward line. As I mentioned, Francis Watson come in and didn't look out of place, and we know that we've got him there and available as well. So plenty of youth, which is very important for our team.
JG, Brawny here, mate. How you going?
Good, Brawny. How are you?
Good, thanks, mate. All the best tonight. Mark Hutchings, obviously a real bad injury, or not bad injury, but wrong type of injury, given the fact it's only a couple of weeks left to the big dance. How's his mental state? Yeah,
it's unfortunate for him. It'll be a couple of weeks more than likely. Obviously with a bye next week, there's 1 week down, and obviously this week. So he's strong and resilient. We've seen last year with the finals with Schofield missing out, and then Brad Shepherd going down with an injury and him getting his spot. There's still plenty of footy to be played. So I'm sure, deep down he'd love to be out here, but he's a strong boy and he'll be doing everything he can to get himself right.
And last week's game obviously wasn't the best result, and there's no secret there was a few players that had probably one of their worst games of the career, and you only lost by 6 points. So the belief is there to be able to match it with the best on any stadium.
You're a bit harsh, Brawny. I don't know about guys having their worst game, but you had some guys who maybe were off in certain situations in the game, really. We pushed a really good team in Richmond on their home deck. So although we lost, like you say, we did take some confidence out of the way. The boys fought it out and didn't turn their toes up at the end and gave themselves a chance, which was great to see. But at the end of the day, we didn't get the job done.
Jamie, Ben Cameron here. Good to chat as always. Can you take us inside the coaches' meeting and selection when you're debating Will Schofield up against Liam Duggan as to who plays in that position or in that role in defence? How close is it, and what are the pros and cons for each of them?
Okay, Ben, there's always tough decisions, and I suppose you're not really pushing for finals if you're not having those debates. Schofield's got his experience. We saw what he did last year in the final series, and he's got a little bit more height than Duggo. And Liam Duggan, he's competitive and he brings some rebound off half back. So there's obviously form, which you discussed, but then you look at opposition teams and matchups, and they're probably two different players in the fact that one plays a lot taller than the other. So they're the discussions you have, but they're always tough, especially when both are actually playing reasonable footy.
One of the great stories of last year was undoubtedly Dom Sheed. Not just the moment, but the fact that he was dropped 3 times throughout the season, kept his attitude brilliant, finds himself in the team on grand final day, and skills were an issue for him throughout the season, and yet it is elite skill in the biggest and the highest leverage moment that separates him and makes him a grand final hero for life. What can you tell us about Dom Sheed as he plays game 100 today?
Yeah, he's a Kalgoorlie boy. He's got the keys up there now, and he's taken over me for sure. But he's a country boy. He's a good lad. He's a great team man. All the boys love him. You're right. Last year he had a tough time. He was in and out of the team, and I suppose he could have been doubting himself throughout periods of the year. But he showed real maturity, and he came in and as you saw, he stood up in a big moment. So we're really proud of Dom, and he's notched up 100 games pretty quickly, and we see him playing at the club a long time. So we're really proud of Dom, and hopefully he can have a good game tonight.
Jamie, be honest, he would not have bought a drink in WA since last year's grand final, would he?
He wouldn't have in the off season. Hopefully he's been behaving during the season, so he hasn't had to buy too many anyway. But no, I think he's a pretty popular boy in WA.
Even for Carlton too, as we saw their banner the other day. One last one before we let you go. Chris Marston back into the side. We know what he can bring to a team, but considering where he's at, game 213 for him, and as a 30-year-old, a real chance to throw down the gauntlet again in front of the coaching staff and try and push his claims for finals.
Yeah, he's been really good for us the last few years, and he's very role-driven, and he brings his strength with his outside run. He's so important. He's been really mature the way he handles going in and out of the team, and he went out last week and went back to our Waffle Eagles team and played very well in tough conditions, and also showed good spirit and leadership with the boys. So we know what we're going to get from Masto, so we're happy to have him back in, and he'll play a role, and a very important role for us.
Appreciate your time. Best of luck.
Good on your team.
Jamie Graham downstairs. Both teams out on the ground. The Hawks in their away jumper, predominantly gold with the brown V and the tiny hawk on the right breast, and the West Coast Eagles in their home jumper. Again, the royal blue with the gold wings. It's West Coast versus Hawthorn. It's 3rd versus 9th. They can't settle anything in terms of finals positions tonight, but the Eagles can go a big step towards securing 2nd spot if other results go their way, or certainly a top 4 finish and a double chance in the finals. The Hawks have to win to have any hope of playing in September, and they'll have to hope other results go their way tomorrow. It's the Eagles versus the Hawks. Hawthorn's first time taking on West Coast at Perth Stadium. And they met just 7-8 weeks ago in round 15 at the MCG. The Eagles emerged victorious that day, winning by 6 points in a close one. Darling kicking 5 and Cripps with 3, but Jaga O'Meara had 36 disposals that day for Hawthorn. Another massive crowd expected, upwards of 55,000. It's going to be a beauty on Grandstand AFL. Quarter time up on the Gold Coast, and the Giants by 26 points up there. They're 5 straight 30 GWS to the Gold Coast Suns 4 behind. So you've just joined us earlier today. The Cats, well, they took a step towards the minor premiership with a 68-point win over Carlton. They'll be awaiting anxiously, so too will West Coast, tomorrow's game between Richmond and the Brisbane Lions. And other results, North Melbourne just hung on against Melbourne. The D's had a chance late but couldn't convert to win by 5 points. And St Kilda in the prime game at the SCG went down to Sydney. Buddy Franklin kicking 4 as the Swans victorious by 45 points. So it's West Coast versus Hawthorn here on Grandstand AFL. How will it all pan out? Let's find out from our experts. St Kilda grand final player Brett Peake and West Coast premiership player Michael Braun.
Thanks, Clint. Welcome, Brawny. Really looking forward to tonight's game. A lot on the line for obviously both sides. West Coast win, can finish as high as 2nd. Hawthorn need to win to obviously make the finals. Weather, as I said earlier in the call, great night for footy, Brawny. You can't get much better than this. Some of the things that I'm looking forward to is, we alluded to it earlier on in the call, the battle of the midfield. If you're the coach of Hawthorn, what do you do to the West Coast midfield?
Well, you've got to nullify, obviously, their ball use, put the players under enormous pressure, because you give the likes of Elliot Yeo, and Luke Shuey, time and space, and we say this every week, that they will cut you up. They're great on both sides of the body. And if they do get that time and space, they're going to hit up the likes of Kennedy and Darling and Oscar Allen. And then if they don't mark, well, you've got the small, dangerous forwards of Rioli and Ryan. West Coast, they love to keep control of the ball, especially by foot, and in the air. They want to control the air, and that's where they're most dominant. So if they can keep the ball in the air and get first use of it, I think West Coast are going to be too strong for them. I think there's too much firepower up forward for Hawthorn. West Coast backline, McGovern, Barras, Hearn, Shepherd, all in great form, apart from Barras. Barras had an absolute shocker last week, and he was probably the first to admit that. But as we said in the pre-game, that you have to, and good players do bounce back. I'm sure that both sides have got something to play for. More so, Hawthorn want to play finals football. West Coast, if they win tonight, guarantee a top 4 spot, guaranteed a double chance. Regardless of that, both teams just need to win. And when both teams have that same sort of expectation, you've got a really good game of football on our hands.
So then the question has to be asked, if Hawthorn are to get up, where do their goals come from? With a small forward line, with no key forward. Ruffy played his last game last week of his career, kicked 6. We did speak about that. If they were serious about making September, good form carries on. Should have they played Ruffy?
Yeah, that's a tough one. And, in hindsight, it's going to be a beautiful thing here, isn't it? But I probably would have played him. He's been the heart and soul of the footy club, premiership player. He's been the captain. So that's an inner sanctum question that we're not privy to. But I think that's where Hawthorn's Achilles heel at the moment is. They're not kicking enough goals. Gunston's been up and down, and he's been playing back throughout the season. Sicily's been playing down back and then pinch hitting up forward, and that hasn't worked. Then you've got Bruce, very, very solid player, very dangerous player, along with Gunston. But don't forget, these two players, Bruce and Gunston, on their day are very, very dangerous players. If, once again, given time and space, they will hurt you. You've got Isaac Smith, the milestone man tonight. Will they find another gear for him tonight? Another triple premiership player and an important cog in Hawthorn's in team. You got Piopolo. He's very, very dangerous, but he too been out of form. So this whole Hawthorn side has been up and down. You haven't been able to back them in on the tips, because every time you back them they lose. Every time you go against them they win, and that's just how they've been all year. But Alex Clarkson, he's a very, very smart coach. You would thought that given the fact that Darren Glass has inner knowledge of the West Coast Eagles, will have some sort of upper hand there. But I just think West Coast too big, too strong, too many stars across the board.
Chuck Sam Mitchell into that group as well. Now with back at Hawthorn, he would know all the ins and outs of how West Coast go about their business. And Scotty Burns spent some time at West Coast as well, admittedly much, much longer ago.
I did see Sam Mitchell walking off the ground, and the West Coast Eagles midfielders were going through their warm-ups, and he just cast an eye over, just assessed what they were doing and how they were going about it. He would have an intricate knowledge of how they do set up, and he was a key component of the coaching staff that saw them win the flag last year.
So Ben Stratton, West Australian by birth, makes his way into the middle of the ground up against Shannon Hearn from South Australia, of course. Eagles premiership captain. They'll meet the toss, the coin. Love to hear from you around the place. 0437 774 774 if you'd like to get in touch. Who won the toss, Benny?
Shannon Hearn won the toss. He's elected to kick to the Farmer Freeway end in this first term.
Let's head downstairs. It looks like a capacity house. It's going to be enormous in terms of the crowd noise. Makes it tough for Bridget Lacey. G'day, Bridget.
Hi guys, it's very loud down here. Expecting a massive crowd tonight. As you said, a beautiful night for football, but I do expect it to cool down a bit as it goes on. About 14 degrees at the moment. A slight breeze blowing across the ground, so not affecting either team. The interchanges tonight for West Coast: Oscar Allen, Liam Duggan, Jack Petruccelli and Jack Redden. And for the Hawks, Oliver Hanrahan, Connor Nash, Jack Scrimshaw and Chad Wingard.
So the Eagles could drop as low as 5th if they lose tonight. They could finish as high as 2nd if they win. The Hawks, they need to beat the Eagles to have any hope of playing finals. And then they need Adelaide to have a narrow win over the Bulldogs. And Port can't flog Fremantle. So many permutations. But those in the coach's box and those downstairs, all they'll be looking for at the moment is picking up the 4 points. How will it all pan out? Two big sides. They've met in grand finals before. They've met in massive games before. It's West Coast, the reigning premier, up against perennial challengers Hawthorn. How will it all pan out? Let's find out on Grandstand AFL. Here's Ben Cameron to get us started.
So the Hawks and the Eagles on a Saturday night out west. Hickey wins the tap, knocks it straight down. The clearance comes from Shuey, tumbles it inside attacking 50. Bouncing ball, knocked down by McAvoy, who gives away a hand pass. And then slipping over Isaac Smith in game 200. Bounces back to his feet, jams it on the boot, tumbles a punt towards half forward. Fisted down by the Eagles. Sheed meets it in his milestone game. Puopolo gets it back. Then Warple, back to Smith. Shields floats it inside attacking 50 for the Hawks. Tim O'Brien works his way to the front. There's a whistle and he'll get the free kick. 45 metres out on a 30-degree angle to the right-hand side. And in that famous number 23 at the Hawks, O'Brien can go back and try and kick the first.
Well, that's hopefully this is going to be what Alistair Clarkson set out to do in the first 1 minute of the game, is to hit the scoreboard and put the West Coast under pressure.
And Tim O'Brien, he crosses the paint to 50. It's a good-looking kick off the boot. It's a goal. The Hawks with the dream start. The first goal inside the first minute. And they're 1 straight 6. The Eagles yet to score. We've played just over a minute here on Grandstand AFL, round 23. Clint Wilden, myself, Ben Cameron, and our expert commentators Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky there for Barras. It looked like he just copped him on the top of the right shoulder blade. It didn't look like it was too much of an interference. Looking at the replay, don't think he got him in the head either. So unlucky there for Barras, but O'Brien goes back and then makes them pay. And as Brawny said, surge on footy, just get the ball forward. A few players have slipped over early on as well, so keep an eye on that.
Had the slightest touch with the left hand into the back of O'Brien. Probably there, but he consider himself unlucky again. Tom Barras, as the ball's bounced to restart in the middle. Slapped forward by Segler against Hickey. Met though by Hearn. Not a great hand pass into a nest of Hawks. It came to Puopolo. Smith's kick was smothered. Nicely done from Yo. Came out for the Eagles again to Jetta. Now at left half back is Gaff. And he'll find Shepherd, who moves it short. Not enough to be a mark to Gaff. Has to play on quickly. Kicks towards centre wing. Going up Rioli, won it down. Hickey's hand pass intercepted. The Hawks have it through Stratton, then to McAvoy. They'll share it through Smith. Into the middle it goes to Warple. Comes back again, then Howe. A long kick inside attacking 50. They go up as a pack. No mark taken. Scully couldn't gather. Hearn looks to get a hand pass out in trouble. Actually has to throw it on the boot to Marston. Got it away to Nelson, who's tackled immediately by Scully. No prior opportunity. Ball up will be the call. Hawks tragic. James of Q sends a text. Hawks to win tonight, he says, fellas.
Segler hooks it down, but it ends up in the hands of Hickey. His kick knocked down. Marston gets it for the Eagles. Feeds a handball away to Rioli, who loops one back to Barras. He slipped over. He started this game how he finished last, and he's legged his opponent. And the free kick going the way of the Hawks. It'll go to Bruce. Not having a great run of it at the moment. Big Tommy. And the man on the mark standing 49 out as Bruce will just set it up towards Gunston. Gaff gets in the way, brings it down. Sheed gives it off to Shuey, who floats it to the wing, and it lands in the lap of Darling for the Eagles. So down by a goal, the Hawks with the opening goal. Darling kicks out towards Ryan. Arriving there quickly, Frawley. He fists it dead. We'll get a boundary throw in. Neutral territory on the southern side of Perth Stadium. We've played almost 4 minutes. The Hawks 1 straight 6. The Eagles yet to score. Interesting to note, Ben McAvoy starting in a key defensive post for the Hawks.
Hickey wins it down for the Eagles to Sheed, to Gaff. Kicks a bouncing ball inside. Forward 50 into the right forward pocket. Slap forward by Kennedy. Howe will get back under pressure immediately from Waterman. He sends it towards left half back, and that's a fine mark. Leaping up into the air to make sure he get hands to it. It's a good grab out there for Shields. He's hard up against the boundary. And he'll look to move it towards centre wing, southern side. Gunston went up and he got in front of the pack and he takes the mark. He has it for Hawthorn, holding the ball in his left hand. He glances inboard. Instead elects to go down the line and hands it off short. Henderson with the uncontested grab. Looks to move it on again towards centre wing. This is O'Meara, hard up against the boundary. The Hawks precise with their kicking, and then O'Meara goes long to a pack of about 6. Off hands at the back. It spills to Burgoyne. From 55 out, he puts it towards full forward. Smith takes a great mark up against Duggan. Strong. And the 200 gamer tonight can go back and kick a goal in his milestone game. He's only the slightest angle to the right of centre and will kick from 25 metres out.
Fair kick from Burgoyne there. Obviously, class player. His nickname's not Silk for a reason.
From right in front, it's a moment to remember for Isaac Smith. In game 200, the Hawks come from everywhere to celebrate with him. 3-time premiership player, the 30-year-old. He puts the Hawks out to a 2-goal lead. They're 2 straight 12. West Coast yet to score. 5.5 minutes gone in the opening term on 0437 774 774. Let us know where you are. Pete and Belinda say they're road tripping in Lapland. That's where Santa lives, Santa's village. Listening to the game, waiting for the Freo game tomorrow. Hoping that the Dockers can start the new era with a win, but enjoying tonight. That is an interesting place to be listening to the footy, Brett Peake and Michael Bruin.
Very.
Isaac Smith in game 200. He has been a goal kicker throughout his career. A 160th goal in this 200th game. Back in the middle, Segler and Hickey, both with hands on it. Neither a decisive tap. Down at ground level, Warple gets it out. O'Meara tumbles it towards half forward. O'Brien can't mark. Bruce Rose gets it off to Scully. Thumps it long to full forward. Looking for Gunston. Shepherd does well. Neutralises the contest. Comes down at ground level. Marston's there. Kicks beyond the defensive 50 for the Eagles. Gaff soccers it off the deck to the wing. Arriving for the Hawks, so they've got numbers. Howe's there to win it. And now they have time. And eventually Sicily goes short and finds O'Meara on the logo. O'Meara to kick it long, looking for a marker. Flying O'Brien, it comes down at ground level. Coming through Smith, just got a handball away. Redden arrives for the Eagles. Marston turns it over, popping up Gunston. He kicks it towards the goal square. Big fist comes from the back and Duggan. 30 metres out from the Eagles' goal. Cheddar runs onto it and kicks towards the wing.
It's a bouncing ball that evades McAvoy. Got worked underneath it by Kennedy. O'Meara slides over the top. Stratton picks it up. Tackled by Rioli. Ball jars free. Kennedy gathered. He got tackled. Lost it as well. Petruccelli tried to win it. Henderson had it. Dropped it. Gathered by the Hawks. Again O'Meara. Straight into the path of Petruccelli and Rioli, where it's locked in and a ball up the decision.
Hawthorn intensity is really, really on West Coast, and West Coast are making some fundamental ball use errors by hand.
Segler got hands to it, spilled to Redden, wobbly kick towards left half forward. The defensive mark taken by McAvoy of the Hawks, who lead by 12 points, 8 gone in the opening term. We'll head downstairs in just a moment.
So they move it towards the southern wing. Here's Scully with that run on the end of it. He chips it towards half forward, looking for a leading target, O'Brien. Barris right there with him, gets a fist in. It's out of play, boundary throw in. Downstairs on the boundary, Bridget Lacey is with us.
Yeah, Shannon Hearn, the skipper, came off unusually early in the quarter and did disappear down to the rim. Didn't seem to have a concern when he first came off, but we'll just keep an eye on when he returns.
Hopefully just a pit stop as Hickey brings it down in front. Gaff, a kick towards the logo. No mark taken, bouncing around, arriving Rioli. Beautiful handball. Ryan, off to Allen, off to the races, the Eagles, and Petruccelli. It tumbles close to the boundary. Little check side. Hits the behind post on the bounce. It'll be a boundary throw-in deep in the right forward pocket. Hawthorn 2 straight 12. The Eagles yet to score. Almost 9 minutes gone, first term grandstand AFL.
Should he have looked inboard?
Yeah, I think he just had the blinkers on, Clint. Just his eyes lit up because of the goals, but should have handballed over.
Josh Kennedy was there throwing in. Darling does the ruck work, won it down, but it spills out towards Warple. A hurry kick for the Hawks towards left half back. Intercepted by Nelson. Tackled to ground by Bruce. No prior, it's been held in. Ball up at left half back for the Hawks. 2 straight 12 Hawthorn. The Eagles are yet to score. Give you a quick score check in a moment. Up at the Gold Coast against the Giants as the umpire sponsor free kick. It's going to go the way of the West Coast Eagles. The free against Segler. Chance here for Hickey, who thought about playing on quickly. He's too far out to score himself, about 75 from goal. So from right half forward, puts the Eagles into the right forward pocket. Going up Kennedy, didn't get first touch. Surely Segler's mark, and it was. The Eagles fans will protest, but certainly Segler got purchase on the footy first. To Henderson, who turns it over. Marking Marston in front of his opponent at left half forward.
So the man on the mark, 49.5 metres out as Marston looks inside a very crowded attacking 50 for the Eagles. Probably just beyond him. He knows it. He sets it up to the hot spot. Big pack forms. Off hands, it comes down for Smith. Jams it on the boot. It tumbles towards the line. Warple will get there, and eventually the boundary line wins. And umpire Dean Margett says throw it in.
Up at the Gold Coast, the Giants by 16 points, 17 minutes into the second term. 6 straight, playing 2-8.
Umpires Margette's Foot and Dorr in charge of this one here today as Segler and Hickey go at it again. Neither with a decisive tap. Socket out of there by O'Meara and out of bounds on the full. So the Eagles to get it back. 80 out from their attacking goal. They trail by 12 points. The Hawks 2 straight. The Eagles yet to score. 11 minutes gone first term.
Bridget told you, Shannon Hearn still downstairs on the bench. The kick for the Eagles into the right forward pocket. Big pack up off hands. No mark taken. Spill down to Scrimshaw. Got a hand pass for Wingard. Tackled immediately. And that's a great tackle by Ryan. He wrapped him up, and it's incorrect disposal. The Eagles with the free kick. 47 out from goal. Hard up against the boundary in the right forward pocket.
And Peggy, this is why West Coast small forwards are so dangerous, is because they're tackling machines and they create forward line defensive pressure.
24 goals for the season. This is 22nd game. The kick's on its way. Looks a little narrow. It is. In fact, it's missed everything out of bounds to the right of the goals. So a free kick to Hawthorn at left full back. The Hawks have got the only 2 goals of the game. They lead by 12 points, 11 gone in the opening term.
Quite ambitious there from Ryan as Sicily goes short and finds Henderson, the Silver Fox, as he kicks towards the wing, towards Gunston, getting a fist in Sheed in game 100. He gets a warm round of applause from the Eagles faithful. Boundary throw in just forward of halfway on the northern wing here at Perth Stadium. Hawthorn with the only 2 goals of the game. They lead by that margin 12 minutes into the first term. Short boundary throw and Hickey takes it out of the ruck. Gives it to Shuey. Wingard's got him holding the ball. And Wingard to get the kick. Just backward of the wing. On the northern side here for the Hawks. He's had an impressive last few weeks. Bridget Lacey on the boundary.
Yeah, Shannon Hearn just ran back onto the ground, so he's okay.
Wingard comes down the commentary wing. There's no mark taken in a packet right half forward for the Hawks. Shepherd tried to sock it off the ground. Swing and a miss from Shills in midair. Nelson picked it up off the deck and was taken high. They'll have the free kick for West Coast. He'll move it short to Gaff. Hawks 2 straight 12. The Eagles yet to score. 13 minutes gone in the opening quarter. Gaff goes back to Barris. Hands it off to Nelson running behind him. And the Eagles send it right back into the right back pocket where Duggan marks. Fiopolo bouncing up and down on the mark. Duggan moves it short and finds Waterman hard up against the boundary. Still in the right back pocket. He'll give it back to Duggan. The Eagles can find nowhere to go at the moment. They're kicking to the left of our broadcast position. That's the Farmer Freeway end of Perth Stadium as Duggan sends it long and high towards right half back. 2-on-2 battle. Spill down to Howe. He'll get it back quickly and then kicks in to the man standing there in McGovern, who has to take it over the boundary line under a bit of pressure. So it'll be a throw in at right half back for the West Coast Eagles. They're yet to score. The Hawks are 2 straight 12. 13 gone in the opening term. Into time on in the second term up at the Gold Coast. GWS lead the Suns by 23 points.
Umpire brings it back in. Tim O'Brien opposed to Oscar Allen in the ruck. The Hawks come away with it. A high ball inside attacking 50. Hearn camps himself underneath it and takes the mark. 35 out from his defensive goal. He sprays it out to the wing. Finds Oscar Allen. Just backward of the wing for the Eagles. Comes inboard with his kick. Wingard gets involved. Brings it down to ground level. Then wins it at ground level. Chips it out towards Gunston. Overshoots the target. Allows in Hearn. He gives it straight back to Wingard. By handoff to Gunston. Now Hanrahan. He'll set it up towards the top of the goal square. Right there Duggan gets a fist in. Coming through Burgoyne. It was touched. He tried to get a boot to it. In the end, it was rushed through. The first blemish of the game. A minor score. The Hawks with all 13 points. They led the Eagles 2-1 to no score. Almost a quarter of an hour travelled.
That was a goal saver from Barris. So a plus for him after a few shaky moments again, particularly after last week. Kick towards right half back. The Eagles win it. Redden got a hand pass inboard to Gaff. Tackled immediately. Wrapped up by Nash. Taken to ground. Nash tries to emerge with it. The umpire had already blown his whistle. It'll be a ball up at left half forward for the Hawks. They lead by 13 points, and they've been very impressive early stages. Both rucks go at it. Neither got a telling touch. It hits the deck again. Players will circle. Ball up once more. 0437 774 774. If you'd like to get in touch with us on the text message line, lots to talk about. Ask Michael Braun or Brett Peake a question. The kick's inside forward 50. Bounces away for Burgoyne. Got a hand pass out to O'Meara. Bounces off Rioli. Couldn't take it cleanly. Marston ran over the top of it. Scully was there. Handed back to Scrimshaw. Gave it to Warple. Lovely kick down the throat of Burgoyne. He just threw it on the boot, seemed to hope for the best, and Burgoyne was in the right position. It hit him on the chest. He can go back and have a shot at goal. It's slightly to the right of centre. He'll put boot to ball from 40 out.
Rule 101, play in front as a forward, as a quick kick. That's what Hawks are doing. They just get surging the ball forward. And Burgoyne playing in front, just lands in his lap and go back from 30 out and should convert.
Looking to kick a third unanswered goal to start the game, the Hawks. Burgoyne, the kick was never going to miss. A broad smile for the man they call Silk, and a finish to justify the nickname once again. 3-1-19 Hawthorn. The Eagles are shell-shocked. They're yet to score. 16 gone in the opening term.
Well, Clint, you said there before during the call that Hawthorn have been very, very impressive. It's because their zone or their defensive press has just got West Coast covered in all aspects. They cannot get the ball outside their defensive 50, turn the ball over. They've just got nowhere to go. The slower they move the ball out, the more that Hawthorn just compress, and they just can't find a way out. And they're making West Coast make fundamental skill errors by hand and foot.
Sean Burgoyne, the superstar veteran. Two of his opponents in Petrocelli and Allen were just 3 years old when he made his debut. All the way back in 2002. The Hawks out of the middle. Wingard on the burst. Kicks towards Burgoyne. Fisted down by the Eagles. Down at ground level. Jetta coming through. Right forward pocket for the Hawks. Now the goal square. Hanrahan tries to soccer it on. Shepherd rushes it through. And the Eagles are under the pump. The Hawks are surging. And they're at 6s and 7s, the West Coast Eagles. The Hawks 3-2-20. The Eagles yet to score almost 18 minutes into the first.
Under siege, West Coast. As Jetta into the left back pocket to Duggan, who goes on a bit of a run, finds some space, and then kicks down the commentary wing on a great kick. Hickey had to win it down against Sicily. It's rushed forward by West Coast. Getting back there, Henderson can't pick it up first time, then fell over the top of the football. Looked to slap it back. Allen was there to gather for the Eagles. Segler tackles him. And West Coast will see themselves with a ball up at left half forward as far as they're concerned. 3-2-20, playing no score for the Eagles. Hawthorn have been dominant. Hickey won it down, and the Hawks will emerge with it again. They come out towards Henderson. Henderson originally getting the hand pass from Bruce, and Henderson kicks towards right half forward. McGovern floats across, can't take the mark, spilled down to Duggan, finds a fellow Eagle on centre wing through Redden, hand pass to Shuey, now to Sheed, into the left forward pocket. Kick didn't have the purchase he wanted. Stratton though could only knock it down. It's sharked there by Ryan, kicks around the body, it'll land in the goal square, it stays there. Waterman clever, socketed backwards to Hickey. Hickey found Cripps under real pressure, got a hand pass away. Allen gathered, Sheed hit the ball coming in the opposite direction and missed. He kicked to the left. A minor score. The Eagles are on the board, but they've been able to somehow to manufacture a scoring opportunity. 3-2-20, playing one behind. Hawks in front, 19 gone opening turn.
So Hardwick to bring it back in, runs to the right back pocket, brings it towards the northern side. Segler with one hand, knocks it down, Wingard falling to ground, gets a handball away. Hanrahan spins in the tackle. Puopolo gets it away to Wingard, sidesteps Sheed, kicks along this northern wing. Hearn camps himself underneath it, takes the intercept mark, feeds a handball away to McGovern. The Eagles across half-back, gaff by hand to Marston. He'll flare it by foot out to Shepherd at right half-back. So the Eagles starting to find their way into it. A dodgy kick from Shepherd, but it's good enough to find Gaff, who comes inboard, edge of the square, and finds Marston. He'll retreat inside the defensive arc. How about a Mark Hearn? He'll bring it back to the northern side. Mark taken by Duggan. Kick short to Shuey. Just backward of the centre line. On the wing, Shuey a little bereft. He looks further afield. He'll kick towards the contest. Hickey, Ryan and Allen there for the Eagles, and Allen in front. Takes the mark. Gets it off to Sheed. It goes short to Waterman. And Waterman marks on the lead. 45 metres out, a 30-degree angle. Maybe slightly worse than that to the left-hand side. And immediately turns his back to goal and says, I'll take the responsibility.
Great contested mark there by young Allen, and just had the nous to sort of play on and give that inside handball to Sheed, who just lowered his eyes, and there was Waterman presenting to the foot. Should go back from a slight angle and get the Eagles' first goal.
So Waterman trudges in a goal in his last 7 AFL games. He won't continue that streak here. It's away to the right. Never looked like it off the boot. 2 behinds to the West Coast Eagles. Hawthorn 3-2-20. They have jumped the reigning premiers in round 23 on their home dung heap here out west. 21 minutes gone in the first.
Bit harsh, Benny.
It's a bit better than that, isn't it? What is it, $1.6 billion stadium?
Because that's very expensive dung heap. Hardwick has it in the right back pocket for the Hawks. Kicks towards right half forward. Big fly, O'Brien. He came floating through, was able to take a dangerous kick across half-back. Yo almost intercepted. It found its way to Howe. Kicks long towards right half-forward. Offhand, spills down. Hanrahan with an opportunity. Gave it on insert. Scully's hit was smothered by Shepherdsfield. Back to Hanrahan. Hand pass to Burgoyne. Couldn't claim it against Nelson. Sockers it off the ground. Bounces towards Wingard. Just inside the 50-metre arc. Kicks towards full forward. Floating there, Nash. Barris got the fist to it. Spilled down again. Hand pass came out the side. Hanrahan snapped around the body. Right on the line. Jenner, did he get a touch on it? Not sure. Will they send this upstairs?
I think it's a goal.
Hanrahan's confident. What will they say? Jeddah stretching. I think he's got fingertips to it right on the line before it's crossed. I think it's a minor score. Certainly what the replays are showing. So a good bit of goal keeping there from Lewis Jeddah, just like Tommy Barash short time ago, but it doesn't change the facts. The Hawks continue to pressure West Coast. It is a behind. Hawthorn 3-3-21. The Eagles 2 behinds. 23 gone in the opening term. It's pretty much been all those in brown and gold.
Jetta tucks it under his arm, runs to the pocket, kicks virtually to the wing. Yo can't mark. Coming through for the Hawks, Henderson loses it. In the end, it's picked up by Sheed. He'll kick forward of the wing. Yo marks, gives it off by hand to Shuey on his left. Out in front of Kennedy, he's got it. 35 metres out, slightly left of centre. And the star full forward can go back and kick for the Sticks.
Now, I alluded to this pre-game, is you give Shuey or Elliot Yo time and space, they will hit you and they'll hurt you either side of their body. That was a beautiful weighted left foot 25-metre kick out in front to let Josh Kennedy do the work. And there's no secret, quick ball movement to break the rolling zone of the Hawthorn.
They need their superstar forward, and he delivers. Kennedy kicks the Eagles first. They're 1-2-8, trailing the Hawks 3-3-21. A 13-point lead the way of the visitors at the 24-minute mark of the first term on Grandstand AFL. Clint Wilden, Ben Cameron, Michael Braun and Brett Peake on your Saturday night.
And Ben, you said it earlier in the call that Big Boy McAvoy was playing in the back line, and he was playing on Kennedy, and Kennedy wasn't getting anywhere near it. They're sort of playing a loose man back there. Now, for anyone, Big Ben Boy McAvoy can seriously run, but where JK got him then was on the double back lead and ended out shooting out on a lateral movement. So that's where he got him, went back, and as Josh has done his whole career, he's gone back and kick a goal.
Hickey wins it down in the centre for West Coast. It came out towards Gaff. Got a hurried kick to Yo, who bursts into space. Runs to the northern wing, kicks inside forward 50. Scrimshaw got a touch on it, still down to Sicily. Great tackling, Kennedy. Ball jarred free. It's at centre half back to the Hawks. O'Meara run down by Gaff. Wonderful play. Gaff will play on from the free kick. Sends it towards full forward. Somehow got free and marks right in front of goal.
That was a smart play by Andrew Gaff. Everyone thought he was going to go right. They didn't know he was a left footer. He played on straight away. Didn't blaze away. Just put it at the top of the goal square. And it was a great mark by Flying Ryan.
Liam Ryan from right in front makes it back-to-back goals for West Coast. Now the crowd comes alive at Perth Stadium. The Hawks are 3-3-21. The Eagles are 2-2-14. Hawthorn still by 7 points here on Grandstand AFL, 26 into the first quarter.
Well, Peake, I didn't know about that. The first probably 20 minutes of this game, Hawthorn back six were fierce and they were moving the ball quickly. That last bit of play, there was 3 or 4 players that just thought they were the only players in their defensive 50 then. They've got to be a bit more smarter and have a bit more awareness about who's around. And they got 2 or 3 tackles there. They could have got caught holding the ball 2 times before that. So just a little bit of lapse in concentration by the Hawthorn defensive 6.
7 consecutive games now for Liam Ryan with a goal, and he booted 2 against the Hawks in round 15. The Eagles hitting their stride with 2 consecutive goals from the restart. Sheed gets it on the ground, gives it out to Shuey, runs back towards centre half back for the Eagles, then pinpoints Sheed on the left. A beautiful bit of skill from Shuey. Now Sheed out towards half forward. Waterman comes out and meets it. Now he looks inside 50, drives it long. Darling and Kennedy down there, both fly. Petruccelli comes through. There's a whistle and a free kick to the Eagles. Take your pick. I'm not sure if it's Darling or Kennedy. It'll go to Darling in the end. The man on the mark, 12 metres out, a slight angle, and just in the click of your fingers, the Eagles could bring it back to 1 point.
I tend to agree with James Frawley, the lip seeking. He asked, what for?
So Darling comes in, boots a ball and pops it through. And the Eagles have hit their stride now. Back to 1 point in the blink of an eye. 3-2-20. They trail the Hawks 3-3-21. Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
Yeah, he did ask what for, and the umpire pointed to the middle ground umpire saying that he was the one that called the free kick out. So watching it again, I couldn't see where it came from, but that's football. Play on.
I'm genuinely bewildered. as to what they picked out there as a free kick. Here we go. We get another opportunity on the replay. And it just looked like a genuine contest for the football. Darling going into the side of McAvoy. There didn't appear to be any holding.
Looks like more of a block.
Been stiff there, I reckon, the Hawks.
Oh, I think if you're a Hawks fan, you'd be furious. Ball spills down for the Eagles from the ruck tap. It came to Yo, kicked towards centre half forward. Spills there for Rioli, bursting through. He puts the Eagles in front. Snapping truly from 45 outs. They've kicked 4 unanswered goals, the Eagles, and their lead is now 5 points. 4-2-26 for the Hawks, 3-3-21, and it comes with about a minute to play in the opening term on Grandstand AFL.
And that's just all class there, front and centre by a small forward. That's what the coach wants, and just the finish by Rioli, obviously with a surname like that.
Well, the finish was good because he didn't blaze away. He took an extra 3 or 4 steps to steady, and he knew he had the pace, knew he had the skill. If he steadied, he's going to kick the goal. But Alistair Clarkson, he's going to be furious with the last 5 minutes of this quarter.
Don't get to the front of the quarter-time huddle. I reckon just hide somewhere at the back if you can. As back in the middle, Hickey goes up, wins the tap down. It's held in. The umpire says, give it to me. I'll ball it up again. Just the Eagles side of the bullseye in the middle. 4 goals in 5 minutes from the reigning premiers. They're hard to stop when they get it on their terms. In the bullseye, the ball jars free. The Eagles get it moving to half forward. Waterman comes out and marks. Attacking edge of the square. He zigs, then zags, then sets it up towards Kennedy in the pocket. And Kennedy's marked 30 metres out. Worse than a 45-degree angle. And he will go back as we approach the quarter-time siren to make it 5 goals in 5 minutes, just about, maybe 6, and extend the West Coast Eagles lead.
Alistair Clarkson's come down from the box onto the boundary line. Can't wait for the quarter-time siren, but if there's another 5 or 10 minutes, West Coast could be 5 or 6, 7 goals in front.
That stuttering approach. This time he sends it across the face and misses to the left-hand side. So the Eagles can only extend their lead by 1 point. It's an even 1 goal. There's a dangerous kick-in coming from Hardwick, but it finds the man Warple. And a quarter of 2 halves. Hawthorn seemingly had it on their terms. They kicked the first 3 goals of the game. They led by 19 points when Burgoyne goaled at the 16-minute mark of the first term. Josh Kennedy kicked the Eagles first at the 24-minute mark, and they booted 4 in 5 minutes, and they lead by 1 straight kick at the first change here on Grandstand AFL.
So the goal kickers for West Coast, Ryan, Kennedy, somewhat controversial one to Darling and Rioli, while for the Hawks, Burgoyne, Smith and O'Brien. As Ben said, 3 straight for the Hawks, then 4 straight for West Coast. It is a 6-point advantage to the Eagles at quarter time. An update for you in the other match currently going on at the moment. The Gold Coast Suns hosting the GWS Giants. It's halftime there. The Giants by 22 points, 8-50 to the Gold Coast Suns, 3-10-28. I'll repeat that again, 3-10-28. And a good question here too from Lee in Glenorchy. Love listening to the ABC, but when you give the Gold Coast score, can you give a Cameron's goal update? Hoping for a Ben Brown Coleman medal. A good point to you, Lee. Now, the mark is, after Ben Brown's effort today of 2 goals, 64.
He needs 6, Cameron.
He needs 6, that's right.
And he's got 3.
He does, and that's where we stand at the moment. So we will keep you up. Has he got 3 or 2?
3.
3 so far for Jeremy Cameron. Okay. All right. You might be looking at a different thing than I'm looking at. I've got him with 2 goals to Jeremy Cameron. What are you looking at, Brett Peake? I've got him with 60 at the moment, so he needs another 4.
He's on 2 goals too.
Well, there's a first for everything.
There is. I apologise.
No, I meant that
he's got 4 to go.
That I got something right. So he's got 4 to go, Jeremy Cameron. He needs to kick 6 to draw level with Ben Brown. So, Lee, you're absolutely spot on. We will keep you up to date with the Coleman medal race. But It is quarter time here at Perth Stadium. The Eagles lead by 6 points. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio and Grandstand Digital, this is Grandstand AFL.
Hi, it's Mick Warhurst. Everything the ABC does is for you, and you can help shape what we do with our online feedback community. ABC Your Space.
I like being able to have a say on my favourite programs.
It's good to know they're paying attention to us.
Love our programs? Help shape the ABC. Join Your Space. Join now for your chance to win an ABC event prize pack. Visit abcyourspace.net.au.
Grandstand AFL.
Grandstand AFL.
AFL.
You're with Grandstand.
Shields floats it inside, attacking 50 for the Hawks. Tim O'Brien works his way to the front. There's a whistle, and he'll get the free kick. And Tim O'Brien, he crosses the paint to 50. It's a good-looking kick off the boot. It's a goal.
It spills to Burgoyne from 55 out. He puts it towards full forward. Smith takes a great mark up against Duggan from right in front. It's a moment to remember for Isaac Smith. In game 200, the Hawks come from everywhere to celebrate with him. Hand it back to Scrimshaw, gave it to Warple. Lovely kick down the throat of Burgoyne. Looking to kick a third unanswered goal to start the game, the Hawks. Burgoyne, the kick was never going to miss.
Yo Marks gives it off by hand to Shuey on his left. Out in front of Kennedy, he's got it. They need their superstar forward, and he delivers. Kennedy kicks the Eagles first.
It's at centre-half back to the Hawks. A near run down by Gaff. Gaff will play on from the free kick. Sends it towards full forward. Ryan. Liam Ryan from right in front. Makes it back-to-back goals for West Coast.
Darling and Kennedy down there. Both fly. Petricelli comes through. There's a whistle and a free kick to the Eagles. So Darling comes in, boots a ball and pops it through. And the Eagles have hit their stride now.
Ball spills down for the Eagles from the ruck tap. It came to Yo, kick towards centre-half forward. Spills there for Rioli, bursting through. He puts the Eagles in front. Snapping truly from 45 out.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and on Grandstand Digital.
We've got a few scores to bring you up to date with. If you've just joined us earlier today, Geelong beat Carlton by 68 points, North by 5 over Melbourne, and Sydney beat St Kilda by 45 points. Half-time at the Gold Coast, the Giants are 8-2-50 to Gold Coast 3-10-28. Jeremy Cameron has 2 of the 6 goals that he needs to draw level with Ben Brown in the Coleman medal race. In the National Rugby League, the Sharks beat the Warriors by 26 points. The Tigers down the Knights by 42. We'll bring you the waffle scores at half-time. And in the cricket, which of course we'll be going to at the conclusion of this game, or you can hear on the ABC Listen app, the Australians at the moment 6 for 213, which means they lead by 325 runs. Labuschagne unbeaten on 69 and Pattinson on 20. Gee, there's a bit going on to talk about Brett Peake, Michael Braun before the second term gets underway.
Well, just quickly, Peake, I think 25 minutes it was all Hawthorn. The last 5 minutes was West Coast. I think inside 50s we're 13 all at the moment, but it was 12-4 in the 25-minute mark of that first quarter. But it was just their press, slow ball movement by West Coast, and then as soon as they started moving the ball quickly by foot, they started to get results.
Yeah, you don't see West Coast get their ball movement set back in their back half, and that's what they did a numerous amount of times. And Hawthorn were on. They brought it. They brought the pressure. There was periods of that quarter where it was finals-like intensity, and then once Eagles could manage to sort of cut through the corridor and sort of get their link-up play, they looked right on. And to kick 5 goals in 5 minutes, that proves it.
So the Eagles by 6 points. As we start the second term, Segler and Hickey again. Segler stays down, palms it straight down to Shields, who's tackled to the turf. Eventually the ball comes free. Nelson comes up and meets it. He's tackled, stands up in the tackle, and the umpire will come in and ball it up. Just Hawthorn's side of the bullseye in the middle of Perth Stadium. Swatted down by Segler. Scully, gang tackled, eventually bursts free, gets a handball away, but Sheed arrives at centre-half back for the Eagles. Nelson under pressure, he's gang tackled, and eventually he stands up in it, and the umpire will have to come in and sorted out 45 metres out from the Hawks' goal. So Segler and Hickey again. Hickey wins it down and spiked on by Henderson. She jams it on the boot, kicks it back towards the middle of the ground, swatted on by Stratton. Scully turns and kicks towards full forward, roving it beautifully. Shields kicks goalward, bounces off McGovern, right back there. Barris puts his head over the footy, dives into it, and the umpire will come in and ball it up 10 metres out from the Hawks' attacking goal. They trail by 6 points, 1 minute played in the second.
Throwing aloft, Segler with his fingertips. It's spilled down to Nelson. A hurried kick from left fullback. Up into the air. Smith! Strong mark. Up against Cripps. He had to dive backwards. He completed the grab. He'll go back and have a shot. It's a 45-degree angle to the right of centre. He'll put boot to ball from 40 out.
Bit of deja vu.
Yes, very much.
Same time, first quarter. Same sort of similar mark over the back. Can he go back and slot it?
Slightly tougher angle. Looking for a second goal in game 200. Isaac Smith kicks on its way. It's going to miss. It does to the left. A minor score. They're 3-4-22. The Hawks. The Eagles 4-3-27. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, Tom Scully just came up with one of the trainers. He seems to have an issue with the left leg, just having it looked at now.
So Jetta with the kick in, runs to the pocket, kicks a long ball in the Darling direction. There with him, Warple. Darling marks, sets Petruccelli free with the handball. His handball misses the target of Yo, gives it back to Darling, who then misses Shuey, but he's good enough to get it. Tries to fend off, in trouble, holding the ball. So Shuey caught, Shields got him. And Shields to have the kick alongside the interchange gates on the boundary. Runs out to his right, kicks as long as he can. A high ball inside 50, big fly from Segler. A free kick, it's going the way of the Eagles. And it'll go to McGovern. So that West Coast Eagles intercept marking defence, winning a free kick through McGovern. It kicks long to the wing, Yo in front, Sicily behind, fists it down. Warple tumbles it to half forward. Shepherd gets it for the Eagles, floats it into the middle of the ground. Marston can open it up on the southern wing. He finds Waterman, has Rioli breaking it left half forward. Gets on the end of it, now wants to come inboard. Well-weighted kick, finds Redden. 40 metres out, slightly left of centre. Well worked by the Eagles. Out to the southern wing, and then a beautiful money ball kick inside attacking 50 that finds the target of Redden from Rioli.
Once again, Peaky, as soon as the West Coast Eagles start to run and create, they're very, very hard to stop. And that was the tale of last quarter. The fact is that there was no run. But what a star Rioli is. He is just a very, very dangerous footballer.
Redden hasn't kicked a goal this year. He kicked 10 last year in the Premiership campaign. 47 out. He still hasn't this year. He's missed it to the left-hand side. Behind. Finished second in the West Coast Eagles, best and fairest in that Premiership year last year. The Eagles by one straight kick, 4-4 plays 3-4, 4 minutes into the second.
The Aussies have lost another wicket. James Pattinson caught root bolt Archer for 20. They're now 7 for 215. Keep you up to date with that as we continue on. So the lead, if you remember, now 327 runs as the Hawks have it at right half back. Chance for Sicily. Standing hard up against the boundary. He'll kick high and long towards the southern wing. Big pack up, no mark taken. Spilled down for the Hawks, but intercepting was Rioli. He did well. Got a chance to Shuey. Now to Ryan for the Eagles towards the top of the attacking 50. Cripps couldn't mark. Probably infringed. Eagles fans certainly thought so as Henderson was there to mop up. Gave it back to Frawley for Hawthorn at full back. Beyond defensive 50. Straight down to Rioli at right half forward. And a clever little pass. Inside forward 50 to Sheed, who's just to the right of the face of goals. He'll put boot to ball from 47 out.
You can't teach that. He's Rioli, for the listeners at home, has just sort of front and center crumbed it. He had two Hawthorn players around him, and I reckon if he took one more step, he would have been tackled holding the ball, and he just released it straight to Sheed. He's all class, Rioli.
Milestone gamer tonight in game 100. Dom Sheed is missing with that kick. It's a minor score to the left-hand side. 4-5-29 plays 3-4-22. 5.5 gone in the second. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, good news for Hawks fans. Tom Scully decided it wasn't much of an issue after all and ran back onto the ground a few minutes ago.
He is magic, Willie Rioli. Worth the price of admission. As Smith in the back pocket shanks his kick. Tumbles it towards Hearn, who gathers on the left, kicks into the pocket, kicks it straight back to Smith. A little bit of kick-to-kick between that pairing. As the Hawks work it by hand, Sicily then goes by hand himself to O'Meara. Now at centre half-back, Wingard squeezes a kick towards left half-back. It's good enough to find Henderson. Had Gaff bearing down on him. And now goes with an ambitious kick into the middle of the ground. Redden fumbles. It allows in Howe. O'Meara chips it forward to Burgoyne. Releases Scully by hand. Kicks towards full forward. Slipping over Bruce. It allows in Barris, who takes the intercept mark at fullback for the West Coast Eagles. They lead by 7. 6.5 played, second term grandstand AFL.
Short to Duggan. And finds Shepherd, still in the right back pocket. We'll head right back to Barris, who has to stretch and mark. In front of the Hawks goal, he's just standing outside the goal square. Walks right back to the behind line, and then sends it very high beyond defensive 50. Allen flew, got hands to it, socket off the ground by Smith. Inside forward 50. Which way does it bounce? A chance for Wingard. Gave it again to Scully. Popped it over the top. Burgoyne. Hand passing. An opportunity. O'Brien running by. Couldn't get boot to ball. He went to ground. Barris happy to see it over the boundary line for a throw-in at right full forward for the Hawks. It was there, and O'Brien was so close. He swung the boot at it. Couldn't make contact. Missed the lot. It's out for a throw-in.
Segler takes it out of the ruck. He's tackled immediately. Shuey then gets it from him. Gives it to Gaff, who kicks the Eagles towards the southern wing. Darling in front. Thought he got a shove. He did. He'll get the free kick. Just back would have centre wing on the southern side of Perth Stadium. Jack Darling with 52 goals for the season. Just a bit off the pace in the Coleman medal race. He'll kick the Eagles forward of the wing towards a contest, but Frawley comes in and takes the mark for the Hawks. Wants to angle a kick back inside defensive 50. Henderson marks. He'll send it towards the northern wing, and the Hawks have just about completed the switch. Nash just stumbles as he skips back off the mark. Now assesses his options. Kicks towards Burgoyne. A little shove on McGovern. Ball jars free. Coming through, Bruce. Bursts through. Kicks on goal. And nicks the post. I thought he was going to sneak it through, but a little outside edge would have been caught by David Warner at first slip. If last night is anything to go by, the Hawks edge closer at 6 points here at Perth Stadium, 8.5 into the second term.
Speaking of such, the Aussies 7 for 222 at the moment. Lead 334 runs as Shuey diving forward mark, still just inside his defensive 50. Labuschagne unbeaten on 70. Cummings is with him. He's now on 6. Ball work back to Barris, to Nelson. Running by Jetta, receives the hand pass, fires it inside the centre square. Found Cripps, back to Jetta. Thumping kick, long inside forward 50. Hickey was up, couldn't quite mark it. Spills the ground. Petruccelli looking to work it forward. Hickey's there again, tackled by 2 Hawks. Sicily was 1. Also in the vicinity, Gunston and Frawley, the last to climb up off the deck. He was there as well, working hard as he so often does. Inside forward 50 for the Eagles. 1 down by O'Brien. O'Meara tried to get a hurry kick away through traffic. Going back, Yo. Put his body on the line. Tapped it out to Sheed. Picked up, though, by O'Meara when Sheed was tackled. Kicks the Hawks towards the commentary wing. Duggan slapped it back inboard. Shepherd was met solidly by Henderson. He stays down. Puopolo gave it to Wingard. Wobbly kick towards left upward. Barris dropped it. Disaster for the Eagles. Bruce, he's there to gather. It's an open goal square. The ball will bounce through. Oh, the nightmares continue for Tom Barris. And the Hawks were there to capitalise. Scores are level at the 10-minute mark of the second term. 4-5-29 apiece between the Eagles and Hawthorn. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, Tom Scully's come off again, and he looks like he's going down to the rooms with the doctor, so concerns there.
Yeah, Barash should have gobbled that up, and he just looks like a player with absolutely zero confidence at the moment, and that's just a direct opposition turnover goal, and that hurts. Eagles had all the momentum, and now we got an even match here.
the last two inside forward 50s for Hawthorn. Bruce has found himself goal in front, running onto the ball. But yeah, I totally agree. Barras has no confidence, and I think the earth would want to open up and swallow him whole.
So back in the middle, O'Brien in the ruck, flicks it straight down to Wingard for the Hawks, then gets it off to O'Meara, bursts out of the middle, kicks the Hawks to full forward. McGovern drops the mark this time. The Eagles arrive through Nelson, who gives it off to Shepherd by hand. Now Jetta, who goes short, and he finds Redden just beyond the defensive arc for the blue and the gold. He goes short to Sheed, just inside the centre square. He chisels the ball forward to Allen. Still inside the centre square, gives it off by hand to Gaff, cuts back on the left, Kennedy leads, gets on the end of it, 45 out, a 30-degree angle to the left-hand side. Well worked by the Eagles in the end, once again, and Kennedy to go back and try and kick his second and get the immediate response.
Kennedy was out the back there for a long time, and if he was a right footer, he would have missed him, but Gaff turns back on inside on his left, and there he is, Kennedy, to go back and score.
Stutters, boots a ball from 51. It looks pretty good, it's a goal. Kennedy's got a couple, and the Eagles answer. They're 5-5-35. They lead the Hawks 4-5-29 here on Grandstand AFL. 12 minutes into this second term, Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
Well, both teams are running, both teams are using the ball, and both teams are making the same mistakes. I think just the intensity, players slipping over, they can't keep their feet, and I suppose it's just what's at stake. I think both teams are really trying hard to get this ascendancy on top of each other, and it's just Hawthorn is not taking the chances in front of goal at the moment.
Back underway at the Gold Coast. The Giants now by 16 points. 4 minutes into the third. Still checking again. Cameron remains with 2 goals. He needs a total of 6 to equal Ben Brown at the top of the Coleman middle. Hawks win the tap through Segler. Out after it, Wingard. Sockers it with the left. Inside forward 50. Backtracking. Nicely done. Jetta. Hand passes to Duggan at full back for the Eagles. Kicks in the left back pocket. Intercept mark. Waiting for it was Shepherd. Henderson wasn't. He shot in front and took the grab for the Hawks. Probably too far out to score. He's about 60 from goal. After retreating from the mark, he's about a metre in from the boundary. Time he's got left ticks down.
He's got a big hoof. He could go back and get the distance.
Well, he's decided that he likes his chances. It's a kick that will have to cover, say, about 55 metres. He's going to give it plenty. It's across the face, and Allen punches it through. A minor score. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, we mentioned Tommy Barras has been having some issues. He's having taping on his hands for the second time tonight, so clearly he's got a finger issue on that left hand. And Liam Shields was having a chat to the doc, but he's back on his feet. Should be on the ground soon.
Jetta goes straight up the middle. Ball ends up in the bullseye. Wingard gives it off to Frawley. The Hawks back inside 50. McGovern the intercept mark. He takes it 40 metres out from his defensive goal as he kicks into the middle of the ground. A little dangerously. Henderson's there. Gives it off to O'Meara. Scrimshaw gives it back to Henderson. Fluffs his kick. Sits for Puopolo, who kicks to full forward. Out the back. Gunston runs on. Bangs it through. The Hawks hit the front again. They lead by a point. 5-6-36. The Eagles 5-5-35. Quarter hour mark, second term. Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
Yeah, it's just the pressure that Hawthorn are putting on the Eagles that are keeping it in it. There was a kick back in board from the Eagles there. I can't remember who kicked it. It was just a waiting kick, but Hawthorn didn't give up and made the spoil. Made it ugly, obviously getting it inside 50. Puopolo just gets it in there. But as Hawthorn have done all night, getting it in there, they'll let their forwards do the rest of the work, and they take a 1-point lead.
Great game of footy to watch. The Eagles against the Hawks on Grandstand AFL. Allen in the ruck. Segler won it down, and it's going to be a free kick to Allen. It's a push against Segler. Umpire Dean Margetts indicating it straight away as Allen takes the free kick and looks to put it long inside 450. Ryan goes up, couldn't mark, spills down to Shields. He's tackled by Yo inside the Eagles attacking 50, ball up the decision. Suns are still trailing the Giants by 16 points. Up at the Gold Coast, that's in the third term. The Eagles win this possession. It comes out towards Duggan in the right half-forward position. Kicks inside forward 50. Wanted Kennedy, couldn't mark. Yo's battling away. Sicily there on the ground, so too Frawley. Yo tries to just toe poke it away. It came though to Shield, then to O'Meara. The big don't argue to Petruccelli, but then Shuey is able to see him over the boundary line for a throw-in. Brewst, rather. So it's going to be a throw-in about 48 out from West Coast attacking goal. The Eagles kicking to the city end in this, the second term. 17 minutes gone. The Hawks lead by a point.
Umpire spins it back in. Segler brings it down. Shuey toe pokes it inside attacking 50 into the pocket. Frawley gets there first. Tackled by Kennedy. Spills to Sicily. Gives it off to Scrimshaw. Comes inboard. Henderson sweeps it back. He's able to find Hardwick, who'll thump it long. Out towards that southern wing. The race is on. Getting there first, Nash. Puts a handball out in front of Warple. The arriving Allen. He gets a handball away. Going in Hanrahan. Then Rioli for the Eagles. Suckered forward by Waterman. Hanrahan soccers it forward. Barras there to mop up at halfback for the Eagles. Gives it off to Nelson. He retreats to Duggan. About 30 out from his defensive goal for West Coast. Goes straight up the middle. Finds the chest of Gaff. So 1 point the Hawks lead. Gaff goes laterally. Finds his captain Hearn. Short to Duggan. Just beyond the defensive arc for the Eagles. The Hawks set themselves up in their defensive zone. Duggan looks straight into it. Doesn't like it. Goes laterally. Finds Hearn. He'll feed it forward with the hand pass to Barras, who just turns and kicks a high ball to the wing. Underneath it, Ryan. Doesn't take the mark. Hardwick gets a handball away. Ball pinballs around. Comes free to Gaff for the Eagles. Chips to half forward. Waterman marks. Pokes it inside 50. And Yo's got it. He takes the mark 45 metres out. 5 metres in from the boundary line. And he's going back as if he'll kick for goal. The Eagles down by a point. 18 minutes into the second.
That's a name that we haven't heard all night. I think, what's he on? About 7 touches. Elliot Yo kicking at 29%. They need, West Coast need this man to really start to up the ante for them to have a chance at winning this game.
It wasn't a great day for his brother's side in the WAFL today. But Elliot Yo comes in, 49 out, sends it on its way and misses to the left-hand side. And levels us up as we close in on half-time. 18 and a half played in the second. 5-6, 36 apiece. Here on Grandstand AFL, the Hawks and the Eagles.
Hawks look to bring it through the middle. Howe has it. Fluorescent pair of boots and kicks high towards the southern wing. Punch came from Allen in the middle of the pack. Still down to Marston for the Eagles at left half forward to Shuey. Missed Waterman. Taken though by Yo. Now he gets another opportunity. He'll snap with the right, but he'll miss to the right from about 45 metres out. The Eagles, they lead by a point. 5-7 to 5-6, 19 gone in the second term. The Australians have lost another wicket. Pat Cummings out for 6. Caught Burns, bowled Stokes. So they're now 8 for 226. That's a lead of 338 runs over England with 2 wickets remaining. The Aussies in their second dig.
The Hawks move it to the logo. Segler marks, gets a handball away to Hanrahan, who kicks a little blindly towards half forward. The Eagles waited though. Shepherd eventually gets over the footy. Corpolo gets it back. Gives it off to Shields, pokes it to full forward, and Nash marks. 17 metres out on a 45-degree angle. And Eagles down in back play. And Connor Nash can go back and hand the Hawks the lead again. It's Shepherd, who's a little slow to get to his feet.
Just a knock-on surge-on mentality again, Peaky. That Hawthorn are just busting open West Coast defence.
So the Irishman from County Meath. How does he go with the set shot? Beautifully, if you're wearing the brown and gold. The Hawks are in front again. They lead by 5 points, 6-6-42. The Eagles 5-7-37. on Grandstand AFL before Michael Braun and Brett Peake. Bridget Lacey on the boundary.
Yeah, good news with the goal, bad news on the injury front. Tom Scully just came up from the rooms wearing joggers. He's sitting at the back of the bench with his jacket on. His day's done.
Need to update the score up on the Gold Coast. The Giants lead by 34 points, 12 minutes into the third. Jeremy Cameron has kicked 2 quick goals. He has 4. He needs a total of 6. So requires 2 more to draw level with Ben Brown, who kicked 2 today, to lead the Coleman medal with 64. He's back, of course, in the clubhouse, Ben Brown. Bounce of the footy. Tap one down by Hickey. Spilled out towards Shee, then back to Hickey for the Eagles. Kicks towards left half forward. Frawley met it, tapped it down. Scrimshaw gathered. Hands it off to Sicily for Hawthorn. The kick wasn't great. Hardwick stretched, couldn't mark. Hanrahan slid through, couldn't gather. Allowed Jetta to pick it up for the Eagles. He finds Cripps, attacking point of the centre square. Inside forward 50, Waterman. He marks 45 degrees to the left of centre. He'll put boot to ball from about 45 out.
Great bit of play once again by Lewis Jetta. Sublime with his foot skills. He's been nailing. Not too sure what he's kicking at there, Peaky, but he's setting up play across the half-back line, and probably another reason why West Coast is still in the game, just for pure skill on his by foot.
So Jake Waterman with a behind tonight. Boots cross the 50-metre arc. The kick looked all right off the boot. Has it got the carry? No. It's just touched the left-hand goalpost. It's a minor score. So the Eagles 5-8. The Hawks 6-6. 22 gone in the second term. Hawthorn by 4 points.
Hardwick sends it out to the southern side, and Segler juggles the mark. About 60 out from the Hawks' defensive goal. He kicks to the logo. Warple there in front of him, Redden, who takes the mark for the Eagles. Skips back off the logo. Now just plays on. Thumps it as long as he can. Inside attacking 50 for West Coast. In front, good mark. Standing tall, Dan Howe. 47 out from the Hawks' defensive goal. He goes back to Stratton, who goes on the left, finds Jager O'Meara. The 2 West Aussies in this Hawthorn team tonight combining. As O'Meara kicks longer towards the wing in a contest. Barris comes in from the side. Segler goes up, down in front. Smith gathers, kicks the Hawks to half forward. O'Brien going back with the flight, getting it at the back. Burgoyne sets up the kick. Hanrahan's out the back. Feigns against Shuey, almost takes the mark, has the numbers. Bruce is there. Shuey worries him out of it, close to the boundary line. Bruce, great hand pass. Gunston goals. His second from the goal square. And the Hawks are out by 10. 7-6-48. They lead the Eagles 5-8-38. 10 points, as I said, Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
And I don't want to sound like a broken down record, but they just do it again. They're just getting goals out of pressure and just getting it in. And Bruce is a class act. He really is. He just kept that ball in play. He keeps his feet, handballs over the top, and they get a goal. So Hawthorn's pressure is keeping this game alive.
A great response. Jeremy Cameron's kicked the 5th. The Giants are 13-3-81 to the Suns 5-10-40. The Giants by 41. Jeremy Cameron 1 shy now of Ben Brown's total of 64 for the Coleman medal. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, thanks for Leader reminding us to do so. Listening in. And Glenn Orkey, I think it was, as the kick from Hickey went inside forward 50. The Hawks will rebound through Stratton. Spill down, though, to Sheed for the Eagles. To left half forward to Cripps. Sicily floating back. Defensive mark in the right back pocket for Hawthorn. Crowd of, looking around, I'd say 56,000 plus here. Pretty quiet at the moment. Sicily beyond defensive 50. Barris flew well before acceptances. Should have been a free kick. I thought the Hawks were going to take advantage. They won't. Burgoyne now looks to steer it short. Chance to go forward once more. This is Bruce. Right on centre wing, southern side of the ground. The Hawks kicking to the left of our broadcast box in this term. Towards right half forward. Barris flies and marks this time. Better effort from a player who's looking to find a bit of form. He has it in the left back pocket. Hawthorn by 10 points, 26 gone in the second.
So he'll thump it long towards the logo, looking for a marker. Segler flies at the back. Sicily bounces off his chest. Then Frawley snaps around the corner. Right there is Burgoyne, dropping the mark. Duggan comes down at ground level. Burgoyne goes again. The Hawks win it. Gunston 60 out from goal. Pulls his kick beautifully. Great vision, even better execution. And Henderson marks 45 out directly in front.
That was absolutely great vision. You talk about the no-fly zone. They had Piopolo in the goal scorer against Brass and McGovern, and he switched it right across goal there. It was magic. That's just a class act. Someone with time and space. Cool head on his shoulders.
They give the Hawks a handy buffer closing in on half-time. The Silver Foxes put it through. Henderson kicks the goal on the half-time siren. And the Hawks have kicked 4 unanswered goals. And 5 goals to 1 in this second term. And they lead by 16 points at the main break here at Perth Stadium.
Remarkable game of footy. Thrilled you could be with us here on Grandstand AFL right around the nation. The goal kickers for Hawthorn, they're all individuals apart from 2 to Gunston. So Gunston with a couple, and then Burgoyne, Nash, Smith, O'Brien, Henderson, the goal kickers for West Coast, 2 to Kennedy, and then singles to Darling, Rioli and Ryan. So West Coast, plenty of work to do if they want to ensure they get a double chance in the finals. The Hawks, well, they're doing everything they can at the moment to keep their chances of playing finals footy alive. They need to win and hope other results go their way as well. The Giants lead by 42 points up on the Gold Coast. 18 minutes gone in the third term there. 13-4-82 the Gold Coast. 5-10-40 repeating. Jeremy Cameron, who's had a few more chances. He's kicked 5 goals for Jeremy Cameron. So Ben Brown kicked 2 today to take his total for 64 for the season. So he's the clubhouse leader in the Coleman medal. Jeremy Cameron, remember Brown kicked 10 last week. Cameron had 58 to start for the day, so needed 6 to draw level, 7 to take over. He has 5 goals at the moment with a quarter and a bit to play. Update for you in the cricket, the Test. The Aussies lead by 346 runs with a couple of wickets in hand. 8 for 234 at the moment. Marnus Labuschagne closing in, he says, touching wood. Banging the table in front of him. 79 he's on at the moment, closing in on what would be a first Test century for him. So he's on 79. Nathan Lyon is still with him on 2. Repeating, the Aussies 8 for 234. That's day 3 of the third Test. A lead of 346 runs with a couple of wickets in hand. The NRL earlier tonight, the Sharks beat the Warriors by 26 points. The Tigers too good for Newcastle. They won that one by 42 points. A huge win for the Tigers over the Knights after their coach Nathan Brown departed a little bit earlier on. And I need to bring you up to date with a couple of other results as well, which I'll get to in just a moment. But the last I had, the Sydney Roosters were leading St George Illawarra late in that game. About 74 minutes in, the Roosters were leading that by 22 points, 34 points to 12. That's the game that's currently underway. In the basketball, the Boomers beat the USA 98 points to 94. Paddy Mills with 30 points there. And we'll bring you the waffle scores if you're listening around WA very shortly. But for those who've been wanting us to give you a complete score update, there's a bit going on around the place. And even then, I've missed a number of things. But now a chance to hear from Michael Braun and Brett Peake in what's been a cracking contest. Hawthorn leading this one by 16 points over the West Coast Eagles at Perth Stadium.
Just on the Ben Brown, Jeremy Cameron battle, it's like for you golfers out there, it's like Ben Brown's got the clubhouse lead in the Masters and Tiger in the shirt red.
He's in the red
He's
shirt.
just lurking with one more to catch up to him. Cameron will kick 2 and he'll end up getting the Coleman. But more importantly, back to this game. And as I said, bounce down, Hawthorn have bought it. I tipped Hawthorn for a reason, and they're showing in patches that they really want to win this game, and it's their pressure. Now, their goals have come from just getting that surge mentality football going, and it seems to be working. The Eagles showed all class late in that first quarter, but they sort of couldn't get their run and carry going. They did miss 3 shots, and all to the left-hand side of the city end. So I don't know if it is breezy down there. We'll have to ask Bridget later. But Eagles have sort of kicked themselves out of it. I think if they'd kicked straight, they may have been 1 or 2 in front. But it's just Hawthorn. I'm impressed with what Hawthorn had dished up for a young side. And I suppose looking at the live ladder, it's a big game for the Eagles. It's a seriously huge game with what's on the line for potentially tomorrow with the Brisbane-Richmond game. This is season defining. I wasn't too sure driving in. I sort of, thought that they were done and dusted for a top 4, but seriously, game on.
Lose and Richmond win, which is very feasible, and no disrespect to Brisbane, but Richmond are up and about just like the Lions. West Coast, who have looked online for a top 2 finish all season, don't finish in the top 4. That's how much at stake tonight for West Coast. The Hawks, a lot at stake for them as well. There's still finals up for grab for Hawthorn. They need another result to go their way, of course, with the Western Bulldogs taking on Adelaide tomorrow. But this is an enormous game.
And finishing in the top 4 to get that double chance, and if they can turn this around, which there's still, a half of football to go, and Eagles on their day can seriously score quick goals and goals quickly. But it'd be interesting to see what Adam Simpson is saying in the coach's room right about now. Brawny, what would you think?
Well, it wouldn't be pleasant. I'll give you the tip, because West Coast aren't playing like a side that has aspirations to play, to get the double chance top 4. Whereas you have a look at Hawthorn, especially in the first quarter, they come out and they look like a team on a mission. That was to play finals. And for 25 minutes, they were outstanding. And for 5 minutes after that, they were poor. And then come the second quarter, the same thing happened. Clarko would have gave them the massive serve in the huddle. They've come out, like you said, knock-on, surge on. They've been getting goal side of their opponents. This is Hawthorn inside their forward 50 and breaking it open. West Coast are taking far too long to get the ball from their defensive 50 by hand. They want to control the ball, which is playing into Hawthorn's hands because they've got the rolling zone, and they're just rattled. And you talk about taking chances and scoreboard pressure. You have a look at the marks inside 50. Eagles 10, Hawthorn 6. Now you have Dom Sheed, Yo, Waterman have all missed 2 goals each. Redden has missed 1, and they're all kickable within 30-35 metres, not on angles, just pretty much, straight in front. The kicking efficiency from both teams: Eagles 67%, Hawthorn 66%. Horrible game. But is that the pressure? Is that putting pressure on each other? Yes, absolutely, because like you said, there's both teams at stake. Hawthorn want to play finals. West Coast want the double chance. If West Coast lose this game, this whole season's a complete train wreck, and we've got front row seats to it. And that's they'll be bitterly disappointed. Adam Simpson will be going right off down there. But Gunston, Bruce looking very dangerous. The knock-on surge-on mentality has got the Eagles rattled, and that's what it is. As soon as West Coast started to move the ball quicker outside the defensive 50 by run and carry, and that's Lewis Jetta was the big part of that. They started to score quickly, like you said, but it's happening too and far between. They are too slow, not moving the ball, probably not taking the risks. High risk, high reward.
The thing is, obviously, Hawthorn have only got 3 on the bench with Scully out for the game. But Eagles really need to pull their socks up and get dirty here, because it's kind of taken me surprised by looking at the live ladder and what is actually for stakes. You come into round 23 wanting these types of games. You really do, as a spectator, as a footy lover. Obviously, if you're an Eagles supporter, you come into this game, hopefully they have a comfortable win and they walk away, make top 4. But I'm still trying to get my head around what could potentially happen tonight at the end of the last quarter. Don't get me wrong, Eagles are a class act, and they can pull that switch and anything can happen.
Clint, just on this, if West Coast finished 5th, they could play the Bulldogs over here. And Bulldogs are in awesome form, and they are running, Bulldogs. They are running hard at the moment. who knows? West Coast could finish 5th. Bulldogs come over here if they win against Adelaide, and they could get rolled.
Well, remember what happened when the Bulldogs went on to win the flag in 2016?
They could get rolled.
Jeremy Cameron's got his 6th goal. Brett Peake has called it. He said it would happen, and so far he's right. So, right now, Ben Brown and Jeremy Cameron, sound like I was working for a commercial station in Melbourne the way I said that. Right now, Ben Brown and Jeremy Cameron share the Coleman medal, but Jeremy Cameron has the opportunity to go in front because he still has a quarter and a few minutes to play. So 27 minutes gone into the third term. The Giants are 15-5-95 to the Suns 5-10-40. Jeremy Cameron with 6 goals. He and Ben Brown equal with 64 goals apiece, but a quarter to come for Jeremy Cameron. I knew this would happen. Marnus Labuschagne has been run out for 80. It is all my fault. Apologies, Marnus Labuschagne. Getting up excited that you might have been able to bring up a Test century. The Australians 9 for 241. They lead by 353 runs. That's in the third Test. Day 3 at Headingley and Leeds, repeating England all out for 67. So the Aussies certainly in the box seat to retain the Ashes, which is where we'll be heading at the end of this game on local radio around the nation. Of course, you can find it on the ABC Listen app, the special Ashes pop-up button. Let's pause here now with what's been a cracking first half. Plenty more to come. 8-6-54 the Hawks, 5-8-38 the West Coast Eagles, and so much at stake for both clubs. The Hawks by 16 points at the main break. Here's the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Good evening, Helen Zarimas with ABC News. After a week of relatively peaceful protests in Hong Kong, riot police and demonstrators have again clashed, with thousands of protesters using traffic barriers to block roads. The BBC's Stephen McDonnell is there.
Riot police fired tear gas and warned protesters that their gathering was now illegal. An earlier march was allowed, but hardline activists diverted from the approved route, descending on the police station at Nat Ao Kok. There had been an attempt by many in the pro-democracy camp to keep this weekend's rallies peaceful. However, youths say the government has done nothing to meet their demands, including a complete withdrawal of the bill allowing for extradition to mainland Chinese courts controlled by the Communist Party.
Reports from Jordan say unidentified gunmen have opened fire on a tourist bus near the ancient city of Petra. Jordan's state news agency says there was no one on the bus when the attack happened. President Donald Trump insists the United States has a good relationship with North Korea. He's made the comment after the South Korean military said North Korea had fired 2 unidentified projectiles from its east coast into the sea in its latest apparent missile test. But Mr. Trump says North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, has been pretty straight with him.
Those are great American companies, and frankly, I don't want France going out and taxing our companies. And if they do that, we'll be taxing their wine.
Victorian police have released a man after reports of a gun sighting at Southern Cross Railway Station in Melbourne CBD. Police say they were told a man had something that looked like a gun, which was wrapped in black fabric earlier tonight. No gun was found after a search of the railway station, with trains stopped at some platforms and passengers moved away as a precaution. Melbourne police say the area will continue to be patrolled, but there's no perceived danger to the public. The South Australian Education Department has dismissed calls for a review into the Confucius Classrooms program in 3 state schools. More from Jonathan Paulson.
State Greens MLC Tammy Franks has called for a review into the Chinese government-backed Confucius Classroom program after the New South Wales government axed it. Its review into the program raised concerns Chinese government appointees were being embedded in the Education Department. But SA's Education Department says there's no need for a review because there's a different approach here. Salisbury High, Plympton International College and Christian Brothers College all run the program. The department says assistants from the Adelaide University's Confucius Institute support the Chinese Mandarin language classes.
Members of the Western Australian Premier's own party have boycotted a keynote speech by Mark McGowan during a chaotic opening to the Labor Party state conference. Jacob Kagi reports.
It took just 5 minutes for the drama to start. Federal MP Patrick Gorman attempted to disqualify a delegate from a rival faction, prompting fury from a large number of officials in the room. Members of the right faction walked out, many during a welcome to country ceremony and a tribute to Bob Hawke. That prompted an apology from WA Labor President Caroline Smith, who was left on the verge of tears during her remarks. Party officials had been attempting to keep divisions out of public sight, but some are now fearing the chaos could drag on all weekend.
The wife of the late Bob Hawke says her memories of him are more important than his possessions. Hundreds of the former Prime Minister's personal items will be auctioned on Tuesday. They're now on public display at his Sydney home. Blanche Delpuget says she's letting go of many of Bob Hawke's belongings.
Because what I have are memories, and that's what's of great importance to me, because Bob lives in my heart and the memories are the greatest thing.
A Russian spacecraft carrying a humanoid robot has failed to dock with the International Space Station. Russian news agencies say the attempt was aborted after the craft with its human-sized robot was unable to lock onto its target. They say they're planning to try again on Monday. Tomorrow's weather: Brisbane, sunny and 27. Sydney, the chance of a late shower, a top of 21. Canberra, mostly sunny, 16. Melbourne, a possible shower and a maximum of 13 degrees. Hobart, partly cloudy, 13. Adelaide, fine and 14. Perth, partly cloudy and 20. Darwin, sunny and 32. I'm Helen Zaremus, ABC News.
One of the finest comedians of his generation, Dylan Moran is back in Australia with his Dr. Cosmos show. Moran will once again offer his unique take on love, politics, misery and the everyday absurdities of life, all served with poetical panache.
Why would anybody want to go skiing? You could sit in the comfort of your own kitchen and break your knees with a hammer. What is
An unmissable journey through his interpretations of the world. For tour details, visit abc.net.au/ABC events.
Grandstand AFL. Grandstand AFL. You're with Grandstand.
Duopolo gave it to Wingard. Wobbly kick towards left. Barris dropped it. Disaster for the Eagles. Bruce, he's there to gather. It's an open goal square. The ball will bounce through.
Still inside the centre square. Gives it off by hand to Gaff. Cuts back on the left. Kennedy leads. Gets on the end of it. Stutters. Boots a ball from 51. It looks pretty good. It's a goal. Henderson's there. Gives it off to O'Meara. Scrimshaw gives it back to Henderson. Fluffs his kick. Sits for Puopolo, who kicks to full forward. Out the back. Gunston runs on. Bangs it through. The Hawks hit the front again. Puopolo gets it back. Gives it off to Shields. Pokes it to full forward. And Nash marks. So the Irishman from County Meath. How does he go with the set shot? Beautifully. If you're wearing the brown and gold. Burgoyne sets up the kick. Hanrahan's out the back. Feigns against Shuey. Almost takes the mark. Has the numbers. Bruce is there. Shuey worries him out of it. Close to the boundary line. Bruce, great hand pass. Gunston goes. Gunston 60 out from goal. Pulls his kick beautifully. Great vision. Even better execution. And Henderson marks to give the Hawks a handy buffer, closing in on half-time. The Silver Foxes put it through.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and on Grandstand Digital.
Australia is all out for 246 in its second innings. They lead by 358 runs with England about to start their second innings. Nathan Lyon bowled Archer for 9. So the top scorers for the Australians, Marnus Labuschagne, who was run out for 80, and throwing Matthew Wade, who put on 33. James Pattinson with 23. Pattinson with 20 and Kawaja with 23. Ben Stokes took 3 for 56. Jofra Archer 2 for 40, and Stuart Broad 2 for 52. Jeremy Cameron is in front. The Coleman medal is his, as called by Brett Peake. He's got 7 which takes his total to 65 ahead of Ben Brown, who finishes with 64. That's 65 with little asterisks because it's three-quarter time up on the Gold Coast, and the Giants lead by 59 points, 16-5, 101 to the Gold Coast Suns, 5-12-42. 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch with us. Dave of Reservoir says, you blokes are talking like Richmond have already won. Not at all, Dave. We're just saying that's what could happen. If Richmond win and West Coast do lose, they will fall to fifth. And what would that mean for their season? Which is okay to give us a whack for thinking things might go against West Coast, because usually we just get abused for cheering for them. So feel free to get involved in any of that sort of discussion. Hawthorn at 8-6-54, West Coast 5-8-38. What do the rest of the stats say? Ben Cameron.
Well, the Eagles have had 10 more possessions than the Hawks, the Marks. West Coast have had plus 15, 59-44. The clearances, the Eagles lead 18-11. The inside 50s, though, the way of the Hawks, 28-27. And the free kicks, Eagles 8-4. The leading possession getters, Andrew Gaff has had it 19 times in that first half. Ricky Henderson having a tremendous year, 16 disposals for him. He leads the way for the Hawks. Then Sheed and O'Meara with 14 apiece.
Double chance could be on the line for the West Coast Eagles. A place in September for the Hawks. Hawthorn by 16 points as the third term's underway. Hickey wins it down for West Coast against Segler and then sockers it forward. Trying to mark Waterman, couldn't quite do so. Cripps ran over it. Sicily was there. Ryan tapped it away to himself. Segler was strong. Got a hand pass meant for Henderson. He leapt up into the air, couldn't get there. Cripps gave it to Marston for the Eagles. Towards Rioli, flew, couldn't mark, spilled down. There was Gaff. Hand pass meant for Cripps. It hits the deck. So too does Cripps. Players pile on top of the football. It'll be a ball up. Inside the Eagles forward 50 in the right forward pocket. Yo was desperate, so too O'Meara. The ball in the hands of the umpire.
So the umpire gets it in motion. Inside attacking 50 for the Eagles. Segler just thumps it away. In the hands of Bruce, he loses it. Shuey gets it. Off to Jetta, who sidesteps. Spears it in and Rioli marks. 40 out, as good as directly in front. And Willie Rioli can try and get the Eagles off to the perfect start in the second half.
How many times have we seen that tonight, Peaky? That Lewis Jetta just dead-eyed Dick in the face of his Eagle players up the ground, just laced out. Great skills, great start for the West Coast Eagles.
Willie Rioli had a season-low 6 possessions and was goalless the last time these teams met. But he gives the Eagles the dream start in the second half. He kicks the goal and the Eagles bring it back immediately to 10 points. They're 6-8-44. The Hawks 8-6-54. We've played just over 90 seconds in the second half on Grandstand AFL. Clint Wilden, myself, Ben Cameron, your experts, Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
Yeah, Brawny, just Jetta and his ball use is just, it's unbelievable to watch. I think he's got better as he's got older, but the ball travels no less than 2 metres, like off the ground. It's just like an absolute missile. So he is keeping him in it with his inside 50 kicking.
Gun barrel straight.
John reminds us, Brawny, that if the Eagles finish 5th and the Dogs win, then it'll be Essendon that West Coast will play because of the way the percentages are. And he's dead right. Well done, John. Thank you. Ball in the middle, thrown up. Segler looking to tap it forward. It's gone outside of the 2 centre circles. We'll have it back. Throwing up again. 2 rucks go at it. Hickey won it down. Hand pass came out to Shuey, but his arms away from Wingard and then kicks inside the attacking 50. Ryan wasn't quite able to get there. Stratton over the top of it. Shoveled out for the Eagles to Yo. Gets the kick away despite the pressure. Came out towards Kennedy. Spilled down to Darley, who snaps. He's got 2. Jack Darling brings the Eagles back to 10 points in terms of the deficit. 4 points, I beg your pardon. 7-8-50 to Hawthorn, 8-6-54. The Hawks by 4 points. My mass has never been a strong point, and that's showing itself up right at the moment. Check your facts from John. I'm all rattled. Ben Cameron's our commentator alongside me, our experts, Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
And just that deft touch under the legs from Rioli just gave Yo, who was running by on boundary side, the opportunity to get the kick away. And obviously a front and centre snap goal to Darling. So, as Clint, you said, 4-point game. Eagles will come out to play.
Eventually, Peake.
You were too quick for the scoreboard.
I know. I blame no one.
We'll go again. A crooked bounce from Dean Margetts. So the Eagles with the perfect start to the second half. They know exactly what's on the line. A double chance. Umpire Margetts throws it up. Knocked down by Segler. Warple, a high up and under towards half forward. Shepherd leads the race. Drops the mark. There was a whistle before it. A free kick going the way of Bruce in the end. So Bruce looks inside 50 towards Wingard. Gunston comes up. Doesn't complete the mark. Wingard gets it. Beautiful kick on the left. And O'Meara bobs up. Takes the mark 30 metres out. About 10 metres in from the boundary line in the right forward pocket.
Eagles have got Jetta and Hawthorn have got Wingard. Wingard can just... didn't even look like he was looking there and just cross his body. Hits up O'Meara to go back and put the Hawks up by 10.
The WA boy from Dongra in country Western Australia. It's not a bad-looking kick, but it's across the face. In fact, it's worse than I made out because he's hit the left hand behind post, out of bounds on the full. And the Eagles to get it in their right back pocket. No change to the score. A 4-point lead the way of the Hawks. They're 8-6-50 for the Eagles, 7-8-50. 5 minutes and change into the second half.
Giants lead is out to 65 points now. 17-5-107 at Gold Coast, 5-12-42. 3 minutes into the final term. Repeating, the Coleman medal will belong to Jeremy Cameron as the Hawks go inside 50. Hearn with the defensive mark for West Coast. Moves it on to McGovern, then to Sheed, who marks just beyond the defensive 50. He's at left half back. Smith going perilously close to getting away a 50 for going off the mark. The Sheed goes towards left half back. Near the boundary was Duggan, moved it to Marston and back to Duggan, marking in the left back pocket. The switch could be on here. Dangerous kick worked out okay. Hearn was able to go forward and marked in front of Nash. Hearn for the Eagles towards Yo, who's now right half back. So West Coast haven't really made any field position here. They've just gone across the face of goal and back again. They trail by 4 points on the scoreboard. 6 gone in the third term. There's a long kick towards a pack on centre wing. Bounced off Hickey's his head more than anything else and shoulder. Down towards Ryan, then to Petrocelli, now to Gaff. A hurried kick high up in the air will be turned over. It's down the throat of Frawley, who marks defensively for Hawthorn.
So Chip Frawley goes laterally, finds Gunston, marks inside his defensive 50 and waits a kick for Wingard, who's got it 60 out from his defensive goal. Gives it off by hand to Gunston. Kicks along the line, looking for a leading Nash, who eventually brings it to ground, wins it at ground level, gives it back to Gunston, chisels a ball around this northern wing. McGovern comes up, knocks it out of play in front of Burgoyne. We'll get a boundary throw in just Hawthorn's half on this northern side of Perth Stadium. I want to give a shout out to our late great friend in Ken Judge. I think of him whenever Gunston gets it. He told him after the grand final, Jack, you remind me of me the way you play. As Andrew Gaff gets it from the boundary throw in, a strong mark in front. Daniel Howe comes down with it, a bit of afters as well. And he'll have it just backward of the wing on this northern side as Oscar Allen is in a 2-on-1 with Smith and Frawley. Eventually the kick comes from Howe towards Wingard. Redden breaks it up, knocks it out of play. Boundary throw in alongside the interchange gates. 4 points, Hawthorn's lead, almost 8 minutes into the third.
It was Kennedy coming across and he met Howe solidly with the right arm, trying to spoil the marking contest, and then Allen went in to lend some support. That was the reason for the push and shove. Scrimshaw has it out right half back. Nice hand pass to Warple. Here's Howe again. Moving it forward to Segler, to O'Meara. He's in the centre square. Kicks Hawthorn inside forward 50. Big flight Barris at the back, but he punches it down straight towards Bruce. It's an open goal. He'll stroll in, take a bounce, and then send it almost into the top deck. The Hawks have got another, and he's got two. Bruce with a couple, Hawthorn with 9. 9-6-60. To the Eagles, who are 7-8-50, 8 and a bit gone in the third term. When things aren't going your way, Tom Barras is finding out things really don't go your way.
Yeah, but Bruce, we said it before, he's a class act, obviously running hard, front and centre. The majority of the time the ball comes down in that 45 and he was there and runs it in, kicks the goal.
They're throwing their own Mad Monday plans into chaos. The Hawks will have to have the rolling booking at the moment. They might have a role to play in September. And Bruce, there it is. As the Hawthorn fans chant, back in the middle. Hickey slaps it down. Redden soccers it forward for the Eagles towards half forward. Intercepted by Stratton. The captain stands tall at centre half back. Goes back inside his defensive 50. And finds Sicily, who sends it out towards this northern wing. Gaff gets a fist in, then goes after it at ground level. Clever little paddle onto Kennedy, who went with an almost wrestling move as he dragged Warple to ground. And eventually a ball up on the arc of 50. The attacking 50 for the West Coast Eagles. They trail by 10, almost 10 minutes played.
Ball thrown up. Segler didn't have a ruck opponent, looked to bring it down. Shields might have been taken high, spilled out the back to Hardwick, a hurried kick towards right half back. Duggan was there when Gunston couldn't mark. He has it for the Eagles, gave it to Gaff, back to Duggan. Might have been held without it by Bruce. Umpire says it's okay. He locks it in. It'll be a ball up at right half back as far as Hawthorn's concerned. They lead by 10 points. Ball thrown aloft. Segler won it down. Shields going through, couldn't take it. Warple could. Got a hand pass, but Tanoan in particular. Then Shuey's hand pass was just as average. It went straight towards Bruce. Looks to have hurt his ankle or a calf in that. He's hobbling away as the Hawks kick it high towards right half forward from Segler. Defensive mark taken by Shepherd. Had some rib problems in the first half. Looks okay now to Barras. Now to Jetta. Towards right half back. It's marked again by Waterman. Has space to run into, elects to kick. And finds Sheed, who marks it right half forward to meter him from the boundary. The Hawks lead by 10 points, 11 gone in the third.
So Sheed, between wing and half forward for the Eagles, chisels it into the pocket. Kennedy and Allen there. Kennedy's marked it. He stuck up 1 mitt, knocked it laterally, and then he went and got it and completed the mark on the third attempt. About 3 metres in from the boundary line, 35 out in the right forward pocket.
Hasn't been the best 10 minutes of football, but both sides making basic skill errors. Josh Kennedy just needs to go back and steady the ship with a goal here for West Coast.
So to steady the ship, Josh Kennedy likes it. No, just across the face. Sliding across the goal mouth for a minor score. 9 points is the Hawthorn lead. 12 minutes into the third term Grandstand AFL.
Jeremy Cameron has 8 goals. 8 goals, 4 for the Coleman medalist. The Giants are 19-6, 120 to the Gold Coast Suns. It's a 5 mark to Gunston at left half back. 5-12-42. GWS by 78 points.
He's playing some good football, Gunston, tonight.
Heads towards left half forward. Ball bounces and gets away from Nash. And it's over for a boundary throw-in. He might play like Judgy, but he'll never look like him unless Hawthorn are allowed to wear the long sleeves. Bridget Lacey's on the boundary.
Yeah, you mentioned Luke Bruce when he came off. He's taken a painkiller, it looks like, and they're not getting too much treatment there. But Liam Duggan came off looking really sore as well. He's on the bike now trying to work out. Looked like a sore left leg for him.
Smith gathers the ball after it was thrown in. He's tackled immediately by Marston. Held to him. Ball up. Hawks by 9 points. 13 gone in the third. Grandstand AFL from Perth Stadium. Clint Wilden, Ben Cameron in commentary. Michael Braun and Brett Peake, our experts.
Segler swats it boundary side. They go after it. O'Meara goes tumbling, as does the ball, and out of play. We'll get a throw in between wing and left half forward for the Hawks. They lead by 9 points. They've laid down the gauntlet to the West Coast Eagles. How bad do you want a double chance? The umpire brings it back in. Allen in the ruck opposed to Segler. Segler brings it down. Shuey sharks it. Kicks towards the wing for the Eagles. A 2-on-1. Howe goes up. Then at ground level, McAvoy The big man emerges with it. Shields tumbles the Hawks inside attacking 50. Loose ball. Going after it. Nash, it jars free. O'Brien gets it. Hanrahan zigzags. Gets a handball away. Gaff comes up with it for the Eagles. Does a little banana around the corner that Shepherd can run onto. Met heavily by Stratton. Gives the handball to Kennedy. He's dumped in the tackle. Sicily got him. Fresh Airy coming from Warple. And then Sicily gets onto the footy for the Hawks.
Sicily to left half forward, leading out O'Meara. Marks. And then pauses. Will kick across half forward. Segler all on his own at centre half forward. Hands it off to Smith. It was right at his bootlaces. Couldn't gather up the awkward ball. Out to Warple. He's well tackled. Locked in. Umpire says we'll ball it up. Great tackle coming in the side. Luke Shuey made sure Warple was going nowhere. What a battle between two that is. Warple in red-hot form at the moment. Shuey been in terrific form for many seasons now as the Hawks win the tap down to Shield. Comes out towards Hardwick. Rioli does well. Bumps Henderson off it. Ball spilled down to Redden. He got tackled and lost it by Shield. It came to O'Meara. Henderson hand passes inside 450 for the Hawks. There to mop up again was Shuey. And he moves it out to Petruccelli. And Jack Flash marks it right half back.
He's just stalled for the time being. Has to go laterally, and Yo's able to take the mark. Hard up against the boundary line, and with his left hand, he tells them all to settle down. Chips it over the top to Nelson.
This is what Hawthorn want West Coast to do. Just chip around, and they're just going to move the zone around and create a turnover.
The Hawks by 9 points. Nelson looks long. In front, McAvoy goes up. Can't complete the mark. Ball spills down in front. Socket towards the boundary line. The Eagles stop to appeal. It barely made it. And in the end, umpire Foot says throw it in. Neutral territory, southern side, Perth Stadium. The Hawks still by 9 points. A quarter hour into this third term. The challenge lays before the Eagles. Segler slaps it down. O'Meara goes after it, but Alan Roves kicks the Eagles towards half forward. Petruccelli keeps it in front of himself. Arriving Warple. He's slung to the ground in a tackle. And the umpire to come in and sort it out between wing and right half forward for West Coast. Hard up against the boundary line. The Hawks by 9 points.
Thrown aloft. One down by Allen. Out after it, Yo. Scooped it up. Kicks quickly inside forward 50. Diving mark, McAvoy. Has it been paid? No. It's been locked in. It's going to be held in as well. McAvoy had the defensive grab. Keen to see the replay. He's back to us. Juggled it. Didn't seem to hit the turf. The umpire saying he didn't control it. The Hawks win the restart down towards Gaff, who's tackled over the boundary line by Puopolo. And we'll have ourselves another neutral ball. I suppose, for the pedant's sake, I should be specific to say that if Tom Lynch tomorrow kicks 13 goals, he'll be able to draw level with the likes of Jeremy Cameron. We need to be specific on these things. Charlie Cameron could kick 14.
Not against Harris Andrews.
No, that's true. Unlikely, though, Ben. Unlikely is all we can say. There's so many permutations in this final round. Ball thrown back into play again. Segler worked Darling out from underneath it and kicks the Hawks quickly down the southern wing. Backing back, that's a fine, courageous mark. Allen knew he was going to have contact, and he marks and plays on quickly. At right half forward, Darling marks. Sends it into the right forward pocket. Packer four up. Petruccelli, almost gathered. He was racing by but left it there for Sicily. And Sicily's able to spot a teammate in Warple who has it at left half back. It's the Hawks by 9, 18 gone in the third.
So Warple sends it long. McGovern coming in from the side. Skews off his hand. Comes down for Shepherd. Kicks forward of the wing for the Eagles. Shields drops the mark. Rioli gets it. Handball to Shuey. He has a fit of the fumbles. And now they pile in. Getting involved, O'Brien. Redden arrives. And it's not coming free. We'll get a ball up between the bullseye and the attacking edge of the square for the Eagles.
Pretty important 5 minutes of play here. Neither team can get the ascendancy to get it forward and score.
So the Hawks by 9 points still. Segler brings it down. Shuey sliding through. Quick kick lands in the lap of Ryan. It's gone to bare 15. He's got it 55 out. Wants to angle it into the pocket. Sets Darling a task. He runs after the bouncing footy, but getting there first is Smith. Gives it off to Howe. He kicks to the wing for a leading O'Brien. Barris with the reaching fist. Sends it over the boundary line with the spoil. And we'll get a throw in between wing and left half forward for West Coast. They just can't quite at the moment. It remains 9 points, 19 played. Third term, Grandstand AFL.
England none for 3, needing 356 improbable runs to win. It's in their second innings as the Hawks win it down. Allen going through, tried to gather it, was held without the football. And he'll have the free kick at left half forward for the Eagles. They trail by 9 points West Coast as we head towards time on in the third. The kick inboard to Jeddah. He'll send it to full forward. Flying up, McAvoy. No problems with the mark this time. Took 2 grabs, but still able to control it. He'll flare it out towards Hanrahan. Moves it on to Gunston. Pops it over the top. Leaping up Hardwick. Marks up against Shepherd. He's got it between left half back and centre wing on the southern side.
What a fascinating move tonight by Alistair Clarkson. Big boy McAvoy basically at fullback. As the Hawks move it down that southern wing. Henderson inside 50. O'Brien reaches up and marks. 35 metres out. A slight angle to the left-hand side. And the man who kicked the Hawks first here this evening can extend it to 15 points, closing in on three-quarter time.
He just read that better than Hickey. Hickey thought it was going to drop. O'Brien stopped and propped, and it just straight into his hands to go back and kick the goal.
O'Brien comes in, everything straight at the goal, and the ball straight through the middle. Hawthorn are out by 15 points. O'Brien's got a couple, and oh boy, the challenge is in front of the West Coast Eagles. 10-6-66 the Hawks. The Eagles 7-9-51. 21 minutes into the third term here on Grandstand AFL.
Hickey, if you thought that both teams were playing for their seasons on the line, there's only one team that's playing for their season on the line. That's Hawthorn at the moment. West Coast looks slow. They look tired. They're making basic skill errors. Luke Shuey's fumbling balls. He's usually one of the best ball users, best ball handlers. Elliot Yeo can't get near it. It's just all, they're falling over, just not going West Coast way at the moment. They've got to find a way at the moment. They've got to find and dig deep and battle through this bit of a slump in this quarter.
Well, they've got to cheer on Brisbane tomorrow if they don't sort themselves out. As Hickey won it down, but it's there again for Sicily for the Hawks. Gave it to Wingard, then to O'Meara. The kick for Hawthorn inside forward 50. Flying Bruce spilled down there to Hearn. To McGovern, tackled by Nash. Got the arms free. The hand pass away to Shepherd. Hand pass to Jeddah. Has to backtrack. Will kick across the face of goal. It's a lovely pass. Under genuine pressure. He found Waterman on his own in the right back pocket. He'll steer it back to Duggan. Duggan marks by hand. Now to Jeddah. Spearing the ball on again. This is Sheed. Still inside his defensive 50. Gets told to play on. Got away from Hanrahan. Found Jeddah once more, and that's a shocking kick down the throat of Hardwick. The Hawks have it again. Terrible turnover for the Eagles to Wingard. Inside forward 50. Duggan spoils against Hanrahan. Out after it, Marston. Pops a hand pass down the line. He's done well enough to disguise it under pressure. It bounced away from Shields. As over for a boundary throw-in. 40 out from the Hawks attacking goal. And they lead at the moment by 15 points. 23 gone in the third.
So boundary throw-in. Inside attacking 50 here for the Hawks. Hickey hooks it down. She can't gather, knocks it to Redden inadvertently. And then Marston just kicks into the middle of the ground. Bouncing ball. Hardwick right there with him, Rioli. Clever toe poke. Ryan has support. Cripps runs on. 48 out. Open goal, he misses. What a let-off. And he looks like he knows Jamie Cripps. Should have done better. 14 points. The Hawks lead. 23 minutes into the third term.
He could have run another 10, 15 metres and made a 15-metre shot on goal instead of a 40-metre shot on goal.
It's a terrible miss for West Coast. The Hawks take it away. Howe, hand pass to Hanrahan, back to Howe. Wingard, got hit just where you don't want to be. He was still able to work it forward again towards centre wing. Puopolo onto Burgoyne, and worked his way through traffic and then sends it into vacant space in the right forward pocket. The ball will stop. Who gets there first? Marston for the Eagles. Sliding to take the ball over the boundary line and away from Nash. Wingard still remains a little bit worse for wear. Well off the ball.
That was like one of my approach shots to a golfing shot there. A bit of backspin there from Sean Burgoyne. Clever little kick.
Very, very obedient ball as Hickey flicks it down into the corridor. Shuey goes after it. He's gang tackled. We'll get a ball up. 25 metres out. Deep in the right forward pocket for the Hawks.
The old sand wedge there, Benny. 1 metre from the cup.
Mine just gets bladed through the green as Shuey gets it, gives it off to McGovern, jams it on the boot, kicks beyond offensive 50. Sicily marks. Man on the mark, 51 out. And James Sicily just points straight to the goals.
He's got the distance there. Remember, he started his career forward and he's got a lovely long kick. Don't want to put the pressure on him, but...
He arcs out to the right, sends it on its way. He's got the distance all right and the accuracy too. Hawthorn lead by 20 points. 11-6-72. They lead the Eagles 7-10-52. 25 minutes into their third term. Great call, Brett Peake, alongside Michael Braun.
That was an effortless kick as well. He just did a tiny little arc. I think he only took about 5 steps, but as I said, he did start his career as a forward and he has kicked bags of goals. Now he's obviously gone back and been a very improved backline player. But that's a crucial goal in this game. I said about 5 minutes ago, the next 5 minutes was going to be crucial, and Hawks have come out on top so far. There's still 3.5 odd minutes left of the third quarter. Eagles have to get down and dirty to stem the run of the Hawks.
It's not panic stations yet, but it's on the line and the Eagles are steaming towards it. The ball's been tapped down out towards the southern wing. There's a free kick and it's coming the way of Segler against Hickey in the ruck contest. Segler will move it short. The Wingard, who's okay again, puts it long towards full forward. McGovern front position, flew, couldn't mark, spills down again, working it through Duggan, gave it back again to Yeo. On to Gaff. Kicks high up into the air. Been turned over Smith. Outmarked Shuey in the left forward pocket. Isaac Smith has given away, though, a free kick. And it's against Wingard for blocking Shuey out of the way in that marking contest. So the Eagles quite rightly with it. Short pass finds Shepherd. Shepherd beyond defensive 50 towards the southern wing. Pack of about 8 up. It's offhand, spills out the side. Waiting for it was Ryan. Kicks West Coast to right half forward. Chance of a big collision here. Cripps up against Gunston. Cripps went to ground. Gunston didn't. Scrimshaw got it. Gave it to Gunston. Now towards Warple under extreme pressure. Great hand pass to Hardwick. He sweeps it out into the right back pocket for the Hawks.
Finds Hanrahan, who kicks to Nash on the wing for the Hawks. Now he pokes it further afield for Burgoyne over his head. And Barras marks. I know the Bulldogs did it 3 years ago. They won it from outside the top 4, but it generally doesn't happen. It could well be the Eagles' season on the line in the next quarter and a bit. As McGovern goes short to Duggan. Pokes it short and finds Hearn. Before that, it was Adelaide in the 90s, wasn't it?
When it was the top 6, I think.
So it is a very important quarter coming up for the Eagles as Hearn goes long towards Darling. Drops the mark. And eventually it's gone out of play. So we'll get a throw in inside the interchange gates. Broadcast side, 20 points is Hawthorn's lead. Closing in on three-quarter time here at Perth Stadium. Umpire spins it back in. Hickey works his way to the front, palms it down. Gaff gets it. Off to Sheed, back to Gaff. On his left, floats it towards half forward. Petruccelli goes up. Yo Rose flicks out a beautiful hand pass. Ryan snaps towards goal. Darling running back with the flight. Good fist, Stratton. Got it right where he needed it to be. And sends it out of play. Boundary throw in left forward pocket. The Eagles would dearly love one before three-quarter time.
Before John gets on the text note, it was a top 8 peaky. Adelaide came from 5th in 98. Throwing back in, spills down for the Eagles. It was a quick shot on goal from Ryan, who missed. Darling working it onto Ryan. A minor score for West Coast. 7-11-53 to Hawthorn 11-6-72. 28 gone in the third. 0437 774 774 if you'd like to get in touch with us.
What year did the top 8 come in?
I'll have to get back to you on that one. Don't know off the top of my head. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment on these little figures as the Hawks take it down the commentary wing. It comes from Shield. Now to Bruce. Pops it up over the top. And then aggressive play from Redden saw Gunston out over the boundary line. So it was a top 5 in 1990 and a top 6 in 1991. And then the top 8 emerged in 1994.
From the boundary throw-in, Hickey palms it straight down to Sheed. And he's held in a tackle.
I can't claim I knew that. I just flicked through the record.
The footy Bible.
Correct.
Umpire throws it straight up in the air to get us going again. Gaff, little giveaway to Sheed. Quick kick towards half forward. And Frawley able to take the intercept mark. Wants to go right back to fullback. Puts Hardwick under a little bit of pressure, but he's up to the challenge. He marks 15 out from his defensive goal for the Hawks and then goes the bare 15 to Sicily. He then kicks long beyond the defensive arc. Segler and Hickey. Yo there too. Yo brings it down. Fights after it at ground level. Hickey gets involved too. Shields over the top of it. Yo goes in. And umpire Mar gets to come in and ball it up between wing and half forward for the West Coast Eagles. They trail by 19 points. Top 4 spot. A double chance on the line for the Eagles.
Throwing up. I think surely was, I think his head held by Segler. Won it down anyway. And the Hawks move it towards centre wing. Quickly it came to Bruce. Heads towards Puopolo, who marks it right half forward. Amira involved after Segler won the tap down. Now Puopolo from hard up against the boundary. Heads towards full forward. Barras came in from the side, punched it down and spilled to Hanrahan, who got the kick away before the siren but missed everything anyway. So that is three-quarter time. And the reigning Premier have a lot of work to do to ensure themselves a double chance in the finals. And the Hawks are doing everything right to keep alive their hopes of playing in September. Three-quarter time, Hawthorn 11-6-72, West Coast 7-11-53. The goal kickers for Hawthorn, 2 to O'Brien, 2 to Bruce, 2 to Gunston. Singles to Sicily, Burgoyne, Nash, Smith and Henderson. While for West Coast, 2 to Rioli, 2 to Darling and 2 to Kennedy and 1 to Liam Ryan. It's Hawthorn by 19 points at three-quarter time. Lunch on day 3 in the third Ashes test. England trailing by 347 runs now. They're none for 11 in reply with Australia's second innings. The Aussies all out 246. So repeating, England none for 11. Burns is 5 and Roy is 6. 29 minutes gone in the final turn up at the Gold Coast. The Giants lead by 78. And Jeremy Coleman, he has locked in. Sorry, Jeremy Cameron. You should call him Jeremy Coleman. Jeremy Cameron has locked in the Coleman medal. He's got 9 goals, the big fella, as the Giants lead 20 goals, 7, 127 to Gold Coast, 6-13-49. 9 goals to Jeremy Cameron. So he started, of course, the day on 58 and trailing Ben Brown, who kicked 2 today to move to 64. So he's surged to be 67, Jeremy Cameron. Talk about a Freudian slip. So he's our Coleman medalist for 2019. Wherever you happen to be, on ABC Radio and Grandstand Digital, what a quarter we've got to come for the West Coast Eagles. They're trailing by 19 points. The Hawks look the goods. On ABC Radio and Grandstand Digital, this is Grandstand AFL.
Boost your gardening know-how with the September issue of Gardening Australia magazine. Learn to grow poppies, hibiscus and bananas, understand fertiliser and water tanks, and brush up on the 6 skills every gardener must have. The latest issue of Organic Gardener magazine helps you prep your garden for spring. Learn to grow beetroot, amaranth and kumquats and discover the secrets to pollination. you'll soon be surrounded by blossom. Gardening Australia and Organic Gardener magazines available from newsagents and gardeningaustralia.com.au.
Grandstand AFL.
Grandstand AFL. You're with Grandstand.
Shuey gets it. Off to Jetta, who sidesteps, spears it in, and Rioli marks. Willie Rioli had a season-low 6 possessions and was goalless the last time these teams met. But he gives the Eagles the dream start in the second half.
Theo gets the kick away despite the pressure. Came out towards Kennedy. Spilled down to Darley, who snaps. He's got 2. To O'Meara. He's in the centre square. Kicks Hawthorn inside forward 50. Big flying Barris at the back, but he punches it down straight towards Bruce. It's an open goal. He'll stroll in, take a bounce, and then send it almost into the top deck.
Move it down that southern wing. Henderson inside 50. O'Brien reaches up and marks. O'Brien comes in. Everything straight at the goal. And the ball straight through the middle. To McGovern, jams it on the boot, kicks beyond defensive 50. Sicily marks. He arcs out to the right, sends it on its way. He's got the distance all right, and the accuracy too.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and on Grandstand Digital.
What a game we've got at Perth Stadium to wrap up the home and away season. Hawthorn lead 11-6-72 to the Eagles 7-11-53. Depending on other results, the Eagles, who are hoping at the start of this contest to lock down maybe top 2, maybe certainly the double chance, could find themselves finishing out of the top 4. Brett Peake, Michael Braun, what will come in this final term?
Well, Peaky, I reckon the first 10 minutes of this last quarter is going to say 1,000 words in terms of the picture he can paint of how much Hawthorn want to play finals, how much West Coast want the top 4. You know, we all probably would have laughed at you saying that Hawthorn could win this game of football on paper and before the game, but hey, he called it right, and Hawthorn have just got West Coast rattled. They're making fundamental, basic skill errors, turn the ball over, going to ground. Just they're under pressure every time they use the ball. You know, Frawley, I think he's done an outstanding job on Kennedy. He's only had 4 touches, kicked the 2 goals too, but I've done some stats through that quarter time. In the last 3 games, Kennedy has only had 19 touches and kicked 3 goals from his last 3 games. He's sitting on 4 touches, 2 goals, 2 tonight. So Frawley's done outstanding, I reckon.
As he often does, as he did in the 2015 grand final, and then there was a run of 80-odd games where Kennedy kicked a goal in every game until he faced Hawthorn again earlier this year.
And I think, is the Scully injury going to hurt Hawthorn in the last quarter? You know, that's another big issue.
It didn't look like it in that quarter. Obviously, West Coast, you know, we all know they've got to win. They're going to throw everything at it. But I think Hawthorn, I think this is why Alex de Clarkson is or has been one of the best coaches ever, because he has played this so well in regards to, we've seen Ben McAvoy play full back. He's never played there before. He's got Warple, who's their leading possession getter, playing head-to-head on Yo.
And doing a great job.
And cut Yo out of the game, and Warple's, you know, had it 16 times. He's just done some left field thing, and I think that's what makes him probably the greatest coach to go around. And, as I said, I picked Hawthorn, I'm sticking to him.
Well, can the Hawks cause an upset in the final round and keep their finals hopes alive? It's all before the Eagles if they want a top 4 finish and a double chance. The final term underway. The Hawks by 19 points. Segler brings it down. O'Meara soccers it forward. Shuey gets it. A high up and under. Attacking edge of the square for the Eagles. Comes down in front. Henderson sweeps a handball away. Arriving Puopolo. Gets it away to Bruce, who gets a high ball towards half forward. O'Brien rises high. Coming through O'Meara. Dribbles it inside attacking 50. Hanrahan misses the handball target. Close towards the boundary line. He goes after it. Eventually carries it over and will get a throw in.
Full time on the Gold Coast. The Giants by 72 points. Jeremy Cameron finishing with 9 goals, 5.
The first goal here so important. If Hawthorn kick it, it might just about be curtains. If the Eagles can get it, game on. Burgoyne close to the boundary line. Snaps it back to the hot spot. Fisted down falls in the lap of O'Brien. Sails the dummy and kicks the goal. The Hawks get that all-important first goal. O'Brien's got 3. And the Hawks lead by 25 points. 1 minute into the fourth term. They're 12-6-78. The Eagles 7-11-53 here on Grandstand AFL.
There's a lot to like about the big O'Brien. I've watched him pretty closely tonight. His work rate off the ball has been second to none, and I suppose it's the old cliche, reward for effort. For the big fella, sidestep there and goes back and sort of slots it through. So crucial first goal for obviously Hawthorn, puts the margin out. It's obviously still not game over because West Coast, we know what they're capable of in small amounts of minute time. So let's see how they respond.
Still the red button's getting bigger though.
Very much so.
Panic station arriving quickly. If you look out your right-hand window and you're a West Coast supporter, Hawks will win it down again. They'll get the clearance. Wingard got it out towards Smith. That's a shocking kick. Despite the best efforts, his teammates tell him it was okay. It was marked by Hearn at left half back for West Coast. Now the pressure is on the Eagles. What can they manufacture? Nelson has it. Kicks towards Allen, marking right up against the boundary. He's still at left half back for West Coast. They've got themselves out of trouble in the past. They'll need to do so again tonight. Long kick down the southern wing. Spilled off hands to McGovern. Worked it out to Redden. Redden, as he put it out of bounds on the full, he has. In fact, it's hit the artificial turf. It was that far awry. It'll be a free kick to the Hawks. They'll have it at right half back. Trailing here by 25 points, West Coast. Hawthorn. They spring one of the shocks of the season in the final round of the year. Kick from Frawley. Back down the southern wing. And up and marking Segler. Has it for Hawthorn. Hands it off to Howe. Goes short to the logo where it's marked by Wingard. He'll send it into the middle of the ground. Dangerous kick. Ryan backing back, but knocked forward again here by Hardwick. Spilled out to Puopolo. Hand pass behind Henderson. Goes to ground on the attacking edge of the centre square. Knocked it backwards. Hawthorn still there. Puopolo again to Smith. Sends it inside forward 50. Allen stretches. Couldn't mark. O'Brien won it to ground. It spills there to O'Meara. Back to O'Brien. 49 out from goal. All on his own is Burgoyne at full forward. He marks, plays on and kicks another. He's got 2. It's all Hawthorn at Perth Stadium. Their lead is 31 points. 13-6-84. The Eagles 7-11-53 in the 4th minute of the final quarter.
Well, Peaky, I said the first 10 minutes is going to determine the game. Don't worry about the first 10 minutes. It's the first 4 minutes of this game. I think panic stations are now being reached, and I think it's good night. Even though West Coast can score heavily, you know, they're just not playing well enough and not moving the ball well enough to be able to come back from this. This is going to be a dreadful, dreadful loss from West Coast.
Yeah, you're right. It is panic stations. I think if Hawthorn kick the next one, it really is serious panic stations.
From the restart, Hickey wins it down. Sheed goes in over the footy. It's not coming out. We'll go again. Oh, big challenge in front of the West Coast Eagles. They've only kicked 7 for the night. They'd need at least another 5 just to get within touching distance as the Hawks come away with it. Hanrahan draws the man, gives it to Smith from 50 on the fly. He misses to the right-hand side. It might have been the knockout blow. It just grazed the Eagles' chin. And they stand up on the ropes, swaying. The Hawks by 32.
Oh, they've just fallen out of the ropes with a kick out of bounds on the fall from Andrew Gaff. So the rebound 50, a clanger. 60 out from their attacking goal. The Hawks will have it at right half forward. It's through O'Brien, who puts it into the right forward pocket. Barras front position flew. Hanrahan roving by, snaps but misses. They can't land the killer blow. But they're swinging away. The Hawks by 33 points. 6 gone in the final.
Gaff gets it from Hearn. Kicks a little check side beyond offensive 50. Redden marks. Gives it off by hand to Waterman, who runs a little arc. Feeds it back to Hearn. Then Shepherd gives it back to Hearn. Sheed, Shuey running by. Gives it to Shepherd. Breaks the line. Kicks the Eagles inside 50. Kennedy's out the back. Hickey almost drags in the mark. At ground level, Kennedy applies the tackle. Hickey comes in to help out. It's not coming free. We'll get a ball up. 40 out from the Eagles attacking goal.
Young Hanrahan, Oliver Hanrahan, only played the 8 games. Nice little something, hasn't he? Got some pace, got some hardness.
Looks a likely type, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
McGovern in the ruck, opposed to Segler, comes down and it's all brown and gold. Here's Scrimshaw, squeezing it out to that man Hanrahan, who soccers it towards the boundary line. Then a little drop step to get away from Duggan. Gives it off to Wingard. Gives it back to Hanrahan, who then fumbles the footy as the pressure comes. And the umpire will come in and ball it up between wing and left half forward for the Eagles. The Hawks by 33. Their season will likely remain alive tonight.
Camped in the top 4 since round 15. Double chance so important for the non-Victorian clubs. Free kick ran out of bounds on the full. Again going against the Eagles. Sheed was the player who turned it over. Sicily has the ball in his hand in the right back pocket. Sicily kicks towards right half back. Barris in the line of 4, got a hand to it. Knocks it over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Just the skill level on both sides has been atrocious tonight. It's been an ugly game of football, and it's probably what Alistair Clarkson wanted from the start. Played a marvellous coaching role here, Alistair Clarkson.
Kiki won it down. Knocked away by the boot of Wingard. Got it out towards Henderson, now to O'Meara, towards right half forward. Gunston won it down, then gathered it himself, gave it to Warple. This is Hanrahan at right half forward. Stabs it to O'Brien. And he marks inside forward 50. It's just to the right of centre. He'll kick from 40 out. This would be the killing blow.
Don't you reckon, Peaky, that Hanrahan, only 8 games and he's wearing bright fluoro boots? You might have some sort of confidence to back up those pair of wheels he's running with.
Off the rookie draft as well, Hanrahan. This is O'Brien. He's looking for a 4th. He liked it the moment he put his boot to it. He's got 4 now, and that'll just about do it, you think, for Hawthorn. And what does that mean for the reigning Premiers' hopes of defending their flag in 2019? The Hawks, they lead the Eagles by 39, 14-8-92 to West Coast, 7-11-53, 9 gone in the final quarter.
Yeah, that's game over. It'd be miraculous if the West Coast Eagles could come back from here, but they can get some pride back. They've just been off tonight, and as you said, Al Clarkson has just played this superbly. I've really enjoyed what he's done. Still 15 minutes to go, but extremely tough.
Jeez, it's an almighty banana skin for the West Coast Eagles as from the restart at the bounce, Redden slides in and gets it at ground level. Marston does a 180 in the tackle, gives it off to Nelson. He's tackled by Bruce. Ball not coming free. A ball up, still in the middle of Perth Stadium. So 39 points to the Hawthorn lead. Knocked out from the ball up. Wingard gathers. Kicks inside attacking 50. A high ball looking for O'Brien. He's got 4. Can't take the mark here at ground level. Going after it, Jetta. Now Puopolo goes after the footy. Redden arrives. Slides in. He's tackled high. And the umpire will come in and ball it up again. At right half forward for the Hawks. The game is in their keeping. And Hawks fans will watch intently tomorrow to see if their great club is back in September action.
Well, even if the West Coast, if they keep getting beaten by, over 40-odd points, they're going to sit out of the top 4 just on percentage. Richmond 112.5, and so is West Coast in the live ladder right now.
That would mean West Coast would be desperate for a big win for the Lions, or at least a solid win for the Lions. If this game continues on its way, the Eagles have it at left half back. That's Nelson. He's able to find Sheed. Sheed for West Coast, sending it towards left half forward. Kennedy went up in the air, couldn't mark. Frawley behind him. Frawley gathered, gave it to Hardwick for Hawthorn. Kicked to a 3-on-1 in favour of the Hawks, but no one could take a mark, and the ball's been locked in. Nelson gathering for the Eagles, Wingard tackling him on the southern wing. So the Hawks kicking to the Graham Farmer freeway end in the final quarter. It's one down for the Eagles. They get the clearance through Redden, and Nelson towards left half forward as the kick up into the air. Off hands again. Sheed was roving, has to backtrack away from O'Meara. Hand pass towards Redden. It was a dangerous kick, just found its way towards Jeddah. To Nelson again, to Shepherd going by the centre circles. Kicks towards Kennedy, up at full forward, off his hands, at the back line. He gathers and dribbles it through for his second. The margin's 33 points now. 13 minutes gone in the final term. It's the faintest glimmer of hope. Hawthorn 14-8-92, West Coast 8-11-59. It's probably nothing more than making the margin a bit more respectable. Question on the SMS, is Ruffy a chance to play in the elimination final should the Hawks make it?
No.
You can't say never, but big Tommy O'Brien, he stepped up to the plate tonight, and he's obviously jumped in where Ruffy would usually be. But then again, Ruffy hasn't played that much footy this year, so
no chance.
0437 774 774. You'd think he would be here if he was a chance.
Call him John Farnham. Another farewell tour. Back in the middle, Hickey and Segler. As Hickey gets it at ground level, gives it off to Redden by hand. Gaff goes and gets it, puts his head over the footy, met solidly by Howe. Waterman wins it for the Eagles. Releases Marston by hand. He gets it over the top to Petruccelli. Just couldn't quite gather quickly enough. Gets it back to Marston. Kick to full forward. Ryan's there. Roving is Kennedy. Rioli snaps. Rioli goes. Well, you never ever know. Rioli's got 3. And the Eagles have the faintest of heartbeats. The Hawks 14-8-92. The Eagles 9-11-65. The margin 27. 13 minutes into the fourth.
Well, Peaky, I don't want to be a pessimist to all the West Coast Eagles fans out there, but I don't think they're going to win this game, but that's what I like to see. I want to see them grind it out, trying to find something, dig deep, and that's what good sides do. Yeah, they may not win the game. There is time, but I don't think they will, but I just want them to show some fight and lower the margin down.
The crowd certainly got back into the game. Eagles are probably the loudest when they're up and the quietest when they're down, but it's a pretty big rant going around the ground. If they could get the next one, anything is possible with some time remaining.
Hawks will get the clearance from the middle. Ricocheting forward. Will come towards O'Meara. Got it originally from Nash. And that's a lovely mark inside forward 50. And he has been everywhere this evening, O'Brien. Already with 4 goals. It's worse than a 45-degree angle to the left of centre. He'll put boots a ball from about 49 out.
He's got a great pair of mitts, O'Brien. I like him. He's got some grunt. Nice kick of the ball, and he's a good mark.
Hickey's a bit worse for wear. We'll keep you updated on that. He's coming off the ground. As O'Brien, that's not a great kick. It's out to the right-hand side. Won't be a score. Burgoyne flew. He claimed the mark. Wasn't paid it. Tackled by Redden to ground. Eagles wanted holding the ball. Ball up's the right decision out of all. That's 14-8-92, 9-11-65. The Hawks lead the Eagles. 15 gone in the final term on Grandstand AFL.
So a ball up, full forward for the Hawks. O'Brien goes up. Yo just dribbles a kick towards the pocket. Waterman slaps it on. Coming across Petruccelli. Waterman soccers it on towards the wing. Darling there with McAvoy. McAvoy does well. Darling goes again. The Hawks support arrives. Scrimshaw gets it off. Quick kick from Warple. Inside attacking 50. Chopped off by Allen. Who then pokes the ball short for Gaff. He's got it 40 out from the Eagles' defensive goal. Gives it by hand to Hearn. Who gives it to Jeddah by hand. Back to Jeddah from Hearn. Who then kicks a low bullet-like ball. Burst through the hands of Henderson. Nelson knocks it on. Marston the same. Gaff gets it. On to Yo. He releases Waterman. Looks inside 50. Overshoots Kennedy. Ryan will run on. In the pocket. Gathers. Settles. Hits the post. From 5 metres out, he should have goaled. A gilt-edged chance for Ryan. And they needed that. He should have kicked it, shouldn't he?
He hit the post and then went through and hit the post in frustration. Wow. That was just had to be kicked for the Eagles.
Would have made it interesting.
Henderson beyond defensive 50 towards centre wing, southern side. Allen went up, punched it down, spilled over to Bruce for the Hawks, stepped away from Yo. Got a hand pass forward, Scrimshaw. Clever kick, but looked clever off the boot. Wasn't the result. Gaff was able to take the mark on the logo for the Eagles. Now to Marston. Here they go again, West Coast. Came to Waterman, suddenly had to stop. Was closed down by Stratton, who did well to stand on the mark. Eagles fans thought he might have infringed by stepping over it. Didn't see it myself as it came from Hearn. Then towards centre half back to Nelson. We'll have a bit of a run towards right half back and then steers it out to Rioli. Our correspondent who asked about Jared Roughhead before. So Ruffy is a roughie, they say. About as much chance as Eagles winning this. And that's a valid point as well. A kick from Rioli back into the middle of the ground. Comes to McGovern, who plays on, and he ran straight into Burgoyne, and that'll be holding the ball. Brain implosion from Jeremy McGovern. Burgoyne kicks into the left forward pocket. That's a shocking kick. He knows it too and apologises. He was looking to try to work it on towards Smith, who had no chance of getting there. It tumbles over for a boundary throw in, 50 out from the Hawks attacking goal at left half forward.
I reckon you're allowed one bad kick in 375 games.
Fair point.
Sean Burgoyne.
Fair point.
The umpire brings it back in. Segler takes it out of the ruck. Met solidly. Ball jars free. Lots of Eagles arrive. Hearn's there. Hand pass away to Duggan. Almost hatches the footy through his legs. And in the end, it won't come free. We'll get a ball up. 40 metres out from the Hawks goal.
I reckon Ruffy's got more chance of playing next week than me at the moment, so I reckon I'll pull on the boots there for you, Clint, next week on the wing. Eh? Ruffy's got no chance of playing.
Well, they're going to make it as well.
Yeah.
And even if they win, they're certainly not guaranteed.
Fingers crossed and calculators out tomorrow for the Hawks as from the clearing kick. It comes back in through Scrimshaw. Inside attacking 50. At the fall of the ball, McGovern away to Shuey. The Eagles might be out down the southern wing.
Here's a chance for West Coast. Ball in the hands of Marston. Not sure immediately what to do, and then he spots Waterman leading towards the wing. Southern side of Perth Stadium. He marks and plays on to Jetta, who runs by and then sweeps a hand past to Rioli. He has to wheel around. Sends the ball towards Yo. Marks it left half forward on his chest. Plays on quickly. Thumping kick to full forward. Ryan comes at it. Couldn't mark. Great defensive mark from Scrimshaw. Wow. He was strong. Eagles coming from left and right. He stood there and took the grab.
One-hander.
Great effort from him as the Hawks send it beyond defensive 50. Segler had hands to it. Couldn't mark it left half back. Shields taps it out. Bounced off the shins of Puopolo and then it's kicked into an Eagle and ricocheted away from Connor Nash. It's going to be, yes it is, going to be a free kick. It went out of bounds, on the full. Sorry, I'll put my teeth back in. Bridget Lacey's downstairs.
Nicky just coming back on the ground, so he's fine.
Still getting over that mark from Scrimshaw as Yo takes a nice contested mark. Marked it in one hand, somehow sticky fingers. As Yo goes short. Finds Shuey on the logo. Wants to go with the burst. Kicks the Eagles inside 50. Darling coming like a steam train. Going back with courage though. Gunston takes a strong intercept mark. 49 metres out from the Hawks' defensive goal. And they're holding up the Hawks. There's Scrimshaw marks on the wing, this time uncontested. And just trudges back off the mark. Time now. An enemy of the Eagles. Scrimshaw chips it to Wingard on the wing. 26 points the Hawks lead. Kicks it straight to the man coming off the bench, Petricelli, who paddles to his own advantage. Wingard's got him though. He remedies his error. Well played, Chad Wingard. And he gets it back at left half back for the Hawks. That's Wingard 2.0. I'm not sure he would have done that at Port Adelaide.
Sicily towards a pack on centre wing. Hearn got a hand pass to Yo, was clever, tapped it back to Gaff. Hand passes back towards the wing. Gave it towards Shepherd. His kick was smothered. Came to Bruce, then spilled out to Shuey, though. Puts the Eagles inside forward 50. Couple of Hawks flew. No mark taken. Sicily tries to emerge with it. Frawley on the deck. Shovels the hand pass through traffic. Howe goes to ground. Kennedy picks it up, lost his footing. Hand passed up in the air. Cripps went out after it, couldn't get there. Stratton over the top of it. Cripps tackles again. Trying to get there, it was Sicily. Surely the umpire will ball this up. Eventually they will. Like a rugby scrum.
Just a quick thought that's dawned on me. The West Coast Eagles, losing tonight, could have to face the Hawks here in an elimination final, having lost this one in a fortnight's time. As Shuey snaps it back to full forward, and Frawley takes the defensive mark, releases Hanrahan at right half back. He's pretty content to just hold it up and spot up Nash on the lead.
Oh, we've got another pedant. Dan says no one will be playing next week on the SMS. Good on you, Dan. 0437 774 774.
The next week of matches, Dan, as the kick goes forward of the wing for the Hawks. Hickey goes up. The WAFL will be playing out west as Duggan gets it, receives the handball, gives it off to Waterman on the wing for the Eagles. Kicks towards half forward. But again, the Hawks, their great wall. Segler takes the mark and then chips it short. And the Hawks just have this in their control at the moment. Henderson with the ball in his hands. They lead by 26 points and will keep their season alive at least for another 16 hours or so.
Kick is down the southern wing. No one can take the mark. It's spilled out the back. Gaff will mop it up. It's a shock result for the competition. A huge result for the Hawks. And Gaff moves it towards Shuey, who marks between fullback and the right back pocket. He'll send it back to the southern side of Perth Stadium to Duggan. Moves it on again to McGovern. Short hand pass to Waterman. Now on with a foot pass to Yo. Pops it over the top by hand to Sheed. Bounces the ball inside forward 50. Darling was tackled by Frawley. That's holding the ball. The Hawks imperious at the moment. Short foot pass came from Wingard to Smith. Inside forward 50. The mark is taken. Shepherd thought he got pushed by Bruce. The umpire was right there. Thought nothing of it. Bruce is right in front of the big sticks. He'll kick from about 51 out.
It was all Frawley then, wasn't it? Just Frawley's been outstanding down back, and this is his goal if Bruce kicks this.
Bruce, 2 goals and a poster tonight. Kick is out and it is through. He's got 3. The Hawks stay alive in 2019 in a result that may put a dagger into the heart of the Eagles' premiership defence. The fans have had enough at Perth Stadium. They're making their way to the exits. West Coast going to exit the top 4. 15-8-98. That's Hawthorn. West Coast 9-12-66. 24 gone in the final term on Grandstand AFL and ABC Radio and Grandstand Digital.
Yeah, Brawny, you've spot on with Frawley. He's been very, very good tonight. Although he might have not had a heap of possessions. Well, he's had 16 from playing full-back, but he's just been composed. I think he's been the general back there for him. Brewster's had another great game as well and kicked goals when they've needed it.
So back in the middle, 32 points. Yo with the clearance for the Eagles. Tumbles it towards half forward. Bouncing ball. Right there is Scrimshaw. And the Hawks will emerge again. Henderson by hand. Gets it off to Sicily. A kick to the wing. Looking for Segler. He drops the mark. Goes after it at ground level. Soccers it to the boundary. And out of play.
Question on the SMS 0437 774 774. As they announce 55,859 is the crowd. How much would Richmond have to beat Brisbane by to finish second? The answer is 63 points. 63 points or more with this result going the way of the Hawks. And Hawthorn have it again in the right forward pocket. O'Meara kicks around the body towards full forward. Running with it was Jetta. Couldn't mark. Puopolo Bounced away from him. Jetta has a chance to gather again and then puts it out of bounds on the full. Puopolo following up with the pressure that caused the mistake.
I reckon that's the 6th time that the West Coast Eagle player has kicked the ball out in full tonight.
Smith wanted to take the free kick, but Hardwick was the closest player to it. Runner-up in last year's best and fairest for Hawthorn. He has it 70 from goal. Will pop it into the left forward pocket. No mark taken from the pack. It's spilled out towards Gaff, who's tackled over the boundary line. It'll be a throw-in. Puopolo again providing plenty of pressure. The Hawthorn fans occupying the block at the Farmer Freeway end. They're making their presence felt now. They're still in the hunt, the Hawks. Spilled out off Hickey's tap towards Shee. Tackled immediately by Smith. Flung towards the ground. Umpire Demar gets all board up inside the Hawks forward 50. It's an enormous result in terms of the competition.
I'm just noticing, I don't think I've been to an Eagles game, just noticing the crowd, how quick they disperse when there's still time remaining for their beloved team.
So the Hawks will
not enough, Peaky. Sorry, Ben.
The Eagles will get a free kick rather at right half back. It'll go to Redden. And the aisles are filling up as Redden thumps it long, looking for a marker. Segler comes across at the full scrimshaw. Segler gets it. Handball to Bruce. Sidesteps Allen. Gets onto his right. Kicks it long. Inside attacking 50. Burgoyne rids himself of Duggan. Takes the chest mark. And can put a little cherry on top for the Hawks.
As we're talking about the older players that have won 3 premierships, 200-game players, they're the ones that have stood up tonight. And that's exactly what good players do. They stand up when the coach needs them to stand up, execute, come over with a game plan, execute it, and go away with the chockies.
Well, Bergen's played full forward pretty much the whole game.
40 metres out, a 45-degree angle. That is as straight as an arrow. The Hawks go into triple figures for the first time this year. And Burgoyne's got 3. And this performance, they've kept it 100. It's been real from the Hawks. 16-8, 104. They defeat the Eagles 9-12, 66. At least for now, 28 minutes into this 4th term.
I don't want to put anyone under pressure, but is this the biggest margin that someone's kicked against the West Coast, or biggest score against West Coast this year?
I'll have a look. They've actually conceded 100 points on now 4 occasions for the season, the West Coast Eagles. So while Ben does the maths, I'd suggest no.
The highest they conceded was 116 against the Swans in round 12.
So they're on their way. Do they still have time for it? As Redden tries to soccer it forward, ricocheted off Gaff and then sat down there for O'Meara. Here go the Hawks again inside forward 50. Barris takes a good defensive mark. Barris short. He's able to find McGovern.
He's been quiet too, McGovern. Not his best game.
It's a stunning effort by Hawthorn. And a terribly disappointing effort by the West Coast Eagles. They kick towards the southern wing, or the commentary wing, beg your pardon, off hands, down towards Smith. Kicks into the left forward pocket again. McGovern had 2 to beat. He's wrapped up by Burgoyne. There is a Hawk down. Was involved in that contest a moment ago. It's Puopolo. He's okay. He climbs up and then side 5s Burgoyne with the ball up the decision. The Eagles have dropped out of the 4 in terms of their percentage. They've dropped below Richmond. And now the Hawks have to wait for tomorrow and the Bulldogs game against Adelaide. Kick is into the middle of the ground. It came to Hardwick, sends it towards full forward. O'Brien is lurking, overruns the football. Bruce picks it up, tackled by Jetta. Held to him. Ball up the call again. The Hawks lead by 38 points. A very happy-looking Jeff Kennett downstairs.
Burgoyne receives the tap, kick smothered, ricochets down, snap across the shoulder, hits the post. Coming from Gunston, so a minor score. The Hawks 16-9, 105. The Eagles 9-12-66. 31 minutes into this final term here on Grandstand AFL.
Jetta, shocking kick that works out. Came toward Yo. He was tackled at right half back. Wrapped up. It's been locked in. Someone says, well, Dave from Reservoir, how about talking about the permutation if the Lions win? Haven't heard anyone mention that, God forbid. Well, that's because they're playing tomorrow, Dave. But we will talk about that post this game. Hickey wins it down. Spills out towards Yo. Kicks into the middle of the ground again for West Coast. Ball there to be won by Hardwick. Had one go at it. Rioli backed up a second time. Got it to Redden for the Eagles. Back to Rioli. Hand pass to Sheed. He'll wobble it towards right half forward. Sweeping hand pass from Allen onto Petrocelli, who kicks towards goal, and he misses. To sum up the Eagles' night, West Coast drop out of the 4. The Hawks are still alive in the finals race. They win by 38 points.
We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bumps with a grin at Hawthorn. Come what may, you'll find us striving. Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and all for one, the way we play at Hawthorn. We are the mighty, mighty Hawks.
It's a huge result for Hawthorn and a staggering blow for the West Coast Eagles, who appear to be stumbling their way towards September. The Hawks trailed by 6 points at quarter time, led by 16 at the half, pushed that out to 19 by three-quarter time, and then won by 38 points. They now just have to wait until tomorrow and keep their fingers crossed that Adelaide can beat the Bulldogs.
We're a happy team at Hawthorn. We're the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bumps with a grin at Hawthorn. Come what may, you'll find us striving. Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and all for one, the way we play at Hawthorn. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
What a huge result. They've come across to the West and they remain the only, one of the few unbeaten sides here after beating Fremantle in their one trip west last year. They've now upset the reigning premier at their home ground. Hawthorn by 38 points, 16-9, 105 to West Coast, 9-13, 67. The goal kickers, O'Brien kicked 4, Burgoyne had 3, Bruce with 3, 2 to Gunston, and singles to Henderson, to Smith, to Sicily, and to Nash. While for the West Coast Eagles, not as impressive on that front at all. 3 to Willie-Rioli, 2 to Ryan, 2 to Kennedy, 2 to Darling. It's a lopsided scoreboard, whatever way you look at it, in front of 55,859 supporters. So the Eagles on percentage is what we saw a moment ago. Let's make sure that that actually does remain the case. Have dropped out of the 4. They have indeed. They've fallen to 5th. So Richmond tomorrow face Brisbane. The Lions win, and they have to win by a big percentage, and they can finish first, but they're going to have a thumping result. They can finish first. Richmond need to beat Brisbane by less. I beg your pardon. All 3 of these scenarios have to occur. Well, that can't happen because Carlton have beaten Geelong. So pretty much they can finish second now, Brisbane. Geelong pretty much locked in where they are, with Geelong a percentage of 135.7. Brisbane win, they'll go to 68 points, and they will take top spot on the ladder again. So that's basically what it means for Brisbane, Dave, if you're still listening in. But yes, in terms of a way to finish the finals, Western Bulldogs versus Adelaide tomorrow and Richmond versus Brisbane. So you've got 8th versus 10th, that means so much at the start of the week. 5th versus 1st, that means so much at the start of the week. And what does it mean? Let's hear from Adam Simpson downstairs.
we're still in the hunt. We'll look at our wounds, we'll have a look at what happened, and then we'll get on with it.
Absolutely. I know that you'll be watching the television tomorrow, barracking for Brisbane to beat Richmond, because the simple equation is if that happens, and then you know what happens if the Bulldogs, and this is where it's ifs and buts, if the Bulldogs get rolled by Adelaide, you could be playing them again here in a fortnight's time, you know that.
I haven't gone through any of that at the moment. I'm just still trying to take in tonight. But, look, on behalf of the players, I just want to thank all the support we've had from you guys this year. Playing here has been sensational since we got here, and appreciate all the support, and we needed a bit more tonight, but we've got some more going us.
Good luck, mate.
All right, thanks, guys.
Adam Simpson.
So Adam Simpson downstairs. He talked or thanked the supporters, but there is barely a person here left in blue and gold. The Eagles fans were heading to the exit a long time ago and have been terribly disappointed by this result. Here's Shannon Hearn.
Appreciate everyone that's come out through the year. I think it means we'll get a home final 2 weeks' time. So really appreciate it, but yeah, we'll train well and get back into it.
Well, if Brisbane win, you could still finish in the top 4, so you could still be, you still could be taking on them or Geelong at this point. You don't know.
Fantastic. Oh, that's all right. So wait and see what happens then.
Righto. Good luck.
Easy. Thanks.
Shannon Hearn, the boys.
I think Shannon Hearn's in the same boat we all are. We'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. But that is a shock to the system. And if Hawthorn, we forget they finished in the top 4 last year, the way that they fell away and fell away so quickly at the end of it all. But if they make the finals, you think about this. They've had wins in round 16 against Collingwood, 17 against Freo, 18 against Geelong, lost to Brisbane, lost to North, thumping win over GWS in the freezing cold of Canberra, flogged Gold Coast as you'd expect, and now has come across to Perth for a huge result. What have you spotted, Ben Cameron?
Oh, just a beautiful sight. All of the Hawthorn fans sort of reaching over the hoardings around the ground, swinging their scarves sort of almost in unison, and just rejoicing with their Hawthorn team after this great win here out west, and keeping their season alive.
They've done just that. They're in 8th spot as we speak, but the Bulldogs sit behind them. So too Adelaide and Port Adelaide, but it does look unlikely. There'd need to be remarkable results in terms of margins for Adelaide or for Port. The Bulldogs, though, if they're victorious, they will leap into the top 8 and force Hawthorn out. And to simplify it again as much as we possibly can, Brisbane win tomorrow against Richmond. They will finish first. And if Richmond are able to get over the line in that case, well, it still gives West Coast a chance. No chance that can happen. Richmond beat Brisbane, but Richmond's winning margin is not more than 48 points bigger than what West Coast is. That keeps Richmond below the Eagles. I can't see these sort of things happening, it has to be said. Basically, if Richmond beat Brisbane tomorrow, West Coast don't finish in the top 4. Let's put it as simple as that.
I like simple. I like simple.
Bring your calculator tomorrow.
I never knew when I fell in love with footy at a young age that I would have to get a degree in advanced mathematics to work out how things are going to work at the end.
In ifs and buts. Unbelievable.
Exactly. Let's just say it simply. Richmond win tomorrow. The Eagles' top 4 hopes are done. Brisbane win tomorrow. They will finish on top. The Hawks will be hoping that the Bulldogs get beat tomorrow, but not by a lot, if that makes sense. How do you assess that tonight? It's a stunning victory. Hawthorn were fantastic. West Coast, terribly disappointing.
Huge win. Isaac Smith, 200 games, come over, and they're not even guaranteed a final spot, so this could be all just
in vain.
Yeah, exactly right. But they wanted it. They were hungry. The first quarter, they were stunned. West Coast was stunned from the moment the ball was thrown up, the first quarter, and they recovered at the 25-minute mark of the first quarter and went bang, 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 kicked 4 goals in 5 minutes. But that was the best they played.
Yeah, we're just seeing Smith down there get cheered off for his 200th, who's been a great servant of the club. And
one of the most limp cheering offs I've seen.
Yeah.
They barely got him above shoulder height.
Yeah.
They need to have a good hard look at themselves with their cheering off form.
They tried.
Frawley and Shields really they didn't do a lot there at all.
It must be all his premiership medallions hanging off him. That's why I had him down.
chink, chink, chink on the way off.
Yeah, well deserved. And I picked Hawthorn tonight I sort of dissected the game and just thought Hawthorn were going to bring that sort of gritty win.
Speaking of the Hawks, let's go down in their rooms. Bridget Lacey.
They're just wandering in. A few fans here, obviously the away side, so not what they'd get in Melbourne, but plenty of excitement. A huge win on the road for the Hawks, and they were certainly getting around the milestone man, Isaac Smith, during the match. I reckon this one meant a fair bit regardless of the finals equation for this group. He's a very popular man in the group, but he's not standing in the middle, so I don't think he's going to get the Gatorade shower for this one. We're just about ready. Team at Hawthorn indeed. We're hoping to have a chat to Sean Burgoyne shortly.
A man called Silk. Looking forward to hearing from him here on Grandstand AFL. Now, they are back from lunch and have been for some time, but giving you an update in the cricket, there hasn't been an awful lot going on. England have lost one wicket though. They're 1 for 15, so they trail by 343 runs. The last player out, Rory Burns, caught Warner, bowled Hazelwood. That was for 7 from 21 deliveries. So 1 for 15, England trailing by 343 runs. That's the third test in the second session of day 3. So Australia certainly still in a very strong position there. And repeating, if you've just joined us, where have you been? Giants beat the Gold Coast by 72 points earlier tonight. 20 goals, 7, 127 to the Gold Coast Suns, 7-13-55. Of most note out of that, Jeremy Cameron kicking 9 goals, 5, which moves him into the lead in the Coleman medal. And you would say all but gives him an unassailable lead. He started the day on 58 goals, so he moves to be 67 and goes ahead of Ben Brown, who finishes with 64 goals after he kicked 2 today in North Melbourne's win over Melbourne. Let's continue on before we hear from Sean Burgoyne downstairs from the Victorian Hawthorn side, who've won by 38 points over the West Coast Eagles. More from Michael Braun and from Brett Peake.
Thanks, Clint. As we spoke about, it was a gritty win by Hawthorn, and I really liked. We spoke about it in the broadcast. What Alex Clarkson did, playing Ben McAvoy at full back. I think that was probably move of the night. He sort of played on Josh Kennedy for most of the night, as well with Darling, and I think he did his job with Frawley, who was really, really good.
Let's go downstairs. Bridget Lacey's got a special guest with her. Bridget.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to have Sean Burgoyne joining us this evening. Sean, such an incredible win to come over here against the reigning premiers on their home deck. Did you come over super confident, or did you surprise yourselves what you were able to do tonight?
No, we looked at West Coast this week, and obviously, as you do every week, look at the opposition, and we were confident coming over if we executed the plan that Clarko put towards us. We had a look at West Coast a few weeks ago at the MCG, and I think they won by 6 points. So there was a wet game that game, but today was obviously a dry game. But we pretty much had nothing to lose. We come over and we have a win, keep our season alive, or we come over and lose, and that's the end of the season. So just have a crack at the end of the day.
It's a bit of a funny one now. You have to wait and see, but you've done all you can do as a group. And will you watch? Keep an eye on it tomorrow. Will you be flying back? Will you not be able to? What's the plan with that?
Yeah, I think we'll be out of here tonight. And watch the TV tomorrow as we should. It's going to be an interesting game between the guys tomorrow because potentially we can play finals, but we've just got to control the things we control, and that was executing the game plan today. And we put ourselves in a sticky situation where we let games slip throughout the year where we're in winning positions, and we wouldn't be in this situation if we won those games. So we have ourselves to blame in so many ways. But yeah, it was a good win on the road, and if that's it, that's the end of it. Well, that's the end of it. So we'll watch tomorrow and probably get a few guys together to watch it.
Another 3 goals for you tonight. You're still going beautifully. Like you've got definitely another September in you, and then another year at least. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was a different role. I've been playing in the back lines probably the last 6 weeks, and They told me to go forward this week and try to kick a couple of goals and set a few up and just try to play a different role. And that's what excites me most weeks, is when the coach is throwing me around in different positions. And it was a really good challenge. I was going to be matched up on McGovern for the majority of the day, and he's one of the best, if not the best, defender or intercept marker of the ball. So for an old guy like me to play on one of the best players and challenge myself at this stage of my career was a really good challenge, and one I actually look forward to today.
The guys upstairs have got some questions for you. We've got Clint Wilden, Ben Cameron, Michael Braun and Brett Peake.
Sean Burgoyne, Brett Peake, well played tonight. I really enjoyed watching tonight's game, and I reckon Alex Clarkson had a game plan and you guys played it to an absolute T. And the two things that I took out of it was, we just spoke about it, obviously yourself playing full forward and kicking three and looking like you're a 20-year-old. And number two is big boy McAvoy playing full back. I really liked those two moves, and I think they were the two of the moves that sort of put West Coast sort of way out, and just your pressure and sort of your younger players stood up. How did you, obviously after Ruffy, who's been a great servant of the club in the AFL, after last week and then heading into this week, how did you take it?
Yeah, it was a good question. Last week was phenomenal. We had 34,000 on a Sunday 4:40 game against Gold Coast to farewell Ruffy, and we fed him as much as we could, and we got the win. He kicked 6, and it was a massive high. And then to regather yourselves on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and say, right, we've got one more game to get through. So we kind of rode the wave of excitement of that. And last week they tried Big Boy at centre half back, so we've been having Big Boy and Segs pretty much ruck forward, and they thought, why not try him back, to keep two ruckmen in the team. So it worked last week, so they said we'll persist with it this week. So that's another challenge for him at his stage of his career. And coming over here, we wanted to ride that excitement of Ruffy's farewell game in the training, into the team meeting. There was a lot of laughs, and then obviously myself going forward was just a different role. We set our mids a task of beating their one-on-one opponent, because West Coast midfield is up there with the best in the comp. If they're not number one, they're number 2 or number 3 midfield in the comp. So individually and as a group, there's a great challenge for our mids to get the ball going forward, and then for us guys to do it up to nullify McGovern and Barras and Hearn and Shepherd. Some of those guys are in all-Australian form as well. So it was a really good challenge for us in this hostile environment as well. I think we had probably 100 fans here, and the rest were West Coast. So it was a good way to just test our game plan again in a hostile environment.
Sean Burgoyne is our special guest downstairs. Hawthorn victorious tonight by 38 points. Sean, if you just pause with us for a moment. Our national audiences, they're called, Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania, about to depart for the Ashes. Thanks for your company.
He's on his way, running towards him. Root defends back down the pitch. No doubt the Aussies will be in his ear as well. Alistair.
Yeah, they'll be wanting to bowl that line, that four-stump line with try and trap him on the crease, that LBW like we saw at Lords, the one which just goes the other way from Hazelwood, to try and nick him off.